main thing I want this podcast to be about, okay, is about us being friends, all right? And we fucking love guns.
Man, I gotta actually.
Did the intro happen?
Yeah, it's still. There we go. Now it's complete. Now we're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Welcome to the 2A Brotherhood podcast. It's still fucking black on my end. I didn't see shit.
It's working on mine.
Yeah.
Man, and everything.
If you watch the live stream, it's like all fluid. But go ahead. Welcome.
Welcome to the ATF Brotherhood podcast. The
geez.
ATF is not gay.
Guys, we got we're so excited tonight. We got two special guests on with us tonight. This is so this will be new for us. Six people. There we go. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started. Whoever wants to go first.
That'd be you, Eric.
Oh, great. Yeah, you're going to put me on the spot. Hi, my name's Eric. I shoot guns. I make fun of FUDs, and I try to educate people through humor and practicality. Long story short, I'm an award-winning competitive shooter. I shoot IDPA, USPSA, PCSL, and GSSF. And I have 6 sponsors. Am I good to shamelessly plug my sponsors on here?
Go ahead, man.
Okay, yeah. So Infinity Targets, Warhorse Ordnance, Anchor Point Holsters, Arrowhead Tactical Apparel, Bootleg Bullets, and Griffin Guardian Gear.
Right on.
Damn. I try to help people get better faster just by using practical lessons that I learned while I was in the Army on how not to shoot, and generally trying to help people get better.
You know, I like that because people who take shooting seriously and are military veterans always say that, like, they teach you how not to shoot. But sorry, go ahead.
You have to get yourself killed, you know.
Mm-hmm. What's going on in the middle there?
One special. Oh, God. My team captain's here.
Nobody has epilepsy, right?
No.
No.
Put your camera.
Yeah.
That's all good.
There we go.
Come
Come on, Rumble.
Just be kind to us, please. It's like
Is he like so totally frozen, or is it just me?
I think it's because he's Mexican. That's his problem.
I don't know. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, bud.
You're good.
That's weird.
It sounds like a walkie-talkie, though.
Weird. Hold
on. Just to let you guys know, we did have Blake on. What would you say, 6-7 months ago?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, something like that. Probably late spring, early summer.
Yeah. But introduce yourself again, Blake.
Yeah,
There we go.
Maybe.
I
I'm
got
Blake. I'm the part owner of Frontier Training Group LLC up here in Bismarck, North Dakota. I've been shooting since I was a kid. Interested in competition shooting the last few years. We kind of wanted a little bit more of a competition shooting scene in our area. We didn't really have it, so some friends and I started it, and also kind of saw a lack of a quality and affordable training in our area, so we kind of took up the mantle of that. I've been a department firearms instructor, gone through a lot of individual courses, had the opportunity to train with some really cool guys, and kind of just pretty similar to Eric, try to pass on some practical, realistic skills and make fun of FUDs, disprove a lot of FUD lore, that kind of thing. Kind of get people onto some the difference between, overly tactical and practical shooting.
Mainly just Coach Kelly.
We We have engaged with Coach Kelly on occasion.
Oh, gross, dude. That guy.
I used to just tag you in his stuff because you get mad.
I know. And then he blocked me because he couldn't handle the heat.
Who's Coach Kelly?
Oh, please explain who.
You do not, dude. All right, so Coach
Do
Kelly is the ultimate. Let's talk about Coach Kelly from SSV Group. So the last time Coach Kelly went through any relevant firearms training was in 2010, and he flexes that like that's something important. But so he's another dude that's on TikTok a little bit. And he tries to talk about all he does is repeat shit that has-beens on YouTube. Like prior, like Larry Vickers and them. All he does is he just quotes their stuff, but on TikTok. That's all he does. He can't shoot. So he thinks that a 4-second bill drill is fast. Anybody that's worth their salt in shooting is going to tell you that the standard for a bill drill, which is 6 rounds, 7 seconds in the A zone of a USPSA style target. That's him. That's him right there. Yep.
Well, he just got a subscription from me.
So he thinks that a bill drill in 4 seconds is fast, but a bill drill, the standard for good shooters is 2 seconds, 6 rounds, all A zone at 7 yards. And that's in a USPSA metric style target. And so his biggest issue is that he absolutely refuses to look at any sort of practical application outside of what he teaches or what he knows or what his YouTube idols might talk about. He literally just sits there and says, I have X certifications, so I can talk about this. It's like, bro, no. Like I've been to three training courses this year. I went to an instructor development course in March, which cost me $1,500, and I had to fly up to Pennsylvania for. I went to a CQB course in like May with my wife, so she could learn the basics, and so I could brush up on, what stuff they're teaching these days. It's been 10 years in CQB stuff. I went and did some personal firearms training with my old instructor just as a tune-up because I started shooting optics and I had no clue what I was doing. But so there's a lot of guys like him out there that have a voice on social media that should not be allowed to have a voice because all he's doing is he's repeating 1980s rhetoric with no capability to actually push past this very basic linear process of thought that he has. Like guys like that don't physically have the capability to expand new neural pathways because it makes them uncomfortable and it triggers their insecurities. Again, you go to my TikTok. You go to my TikTok and you look at any of these videos, and better luck next time, bud. It's just a bunch of insecure dudes that are like, "Well, you're fucking fat." I'm like, "That's cool. I could smoke you in a gunfight." Like it's the whole concept behind shooting is so fat. Like, yeah, exactly. The whole concept of being a computer isn't to be like, I'm better than you, ha. It's to be like, hey, look, I can achieve this level of capability just by being practical and using a little common sense, and you can get there too if you want. And a lot of these old heads like Coach Kelly, they're just stuck in this constant loop of, well, my favorite YouTuber that was a has-been 20 years ago saying the same thing. It's like, bro, your has-been YouTuber is not going to beat 14-year-old girls in a gunfight. I know a dude that. So my buddy Luke looks like a total nerd. Like he legit looks like a nerd. He's kind of small. He's kind of skinny. He looks like a nerd, but holy cow, he is like the ultimate sleeper build when it comes to shooting. You do not want to be in a gunfight with this guy. He will kill you so dead. You're going to be dead. And he's a cop out here. One of the highest crimes we have in Kansas.
Will he kill your soul too?
Yeah, straight up. And he's not even a ginger. He will snatch that soul from you with 124 grain. Oh my gosh, dude, it's nuts. So Coach Kelly's my favorite FUD to make fun of. He blocked me a while ago. He is unwilling to engage in dialogue because he's afraid, because he knows I can outperform him, and he's like 65 years old, and he peaked 50 years ago.
Hell yeah,
so
brother.
That's brother.
So what you're saying is we need to get him on the podcast next.
Absolutely. With me. If you get
Let's make it happen.
Like, we have a special guest.
Let's make it happen.
In here. I'll be like, what's up, hoser?
What's up, Bud Duddy?
We get Henry or Kendra in here to mediate.
Oh, bro, you get Henry in here with Coach Kelly. Hands will be thrown proverbially through this screen because H hates that dude.
H hates him too.
Bro, H is a gangster though. He was a black pig contractor, and he teaches special forces guys in the Q course now. Like he's contracted with the Army to teach these SF guys, and it's like, dude, this guy's biggest dick of any civilian I've ever met, hands down. Great dude though. Great dude.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
he was.
Mhm.
Yeah, me and Rob went out to his house. Yeah, and we
Outstanding,
trained with him
dude.
for a weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dude, it is.
Mhm.
He a solid
can't-
dude, man. He's
Worth
mad
it.
funny too.
Oh yeah, dude. He is the best part about Henry is he's the exact same way in real life as he is on social media. Like there's no change. Like I'm a little nicer in person, according to the 3 people I've met that follow me on TikTok. I'm a little nicer in person than I am on social media, but Henry's the exact same way. He does not care. He's like,
Yeah.
my fun meter is always ticked out, so you get me as I am, and I'm like, I respect you for that.
I'm just an asshole on and off here. So
Yeah.
All good, homie. Oh man, my team captain and my buddy Brandon's here. So the dot gun that just joined here actually shot a perfect match at an IDPA major, I think last weekend. By perfect, I mean he had 0 hits outside of the down 0 zone, and I think that's the first time he's ever done that. And he's been shooting for a long time.
that's a good achievement, man.
Yeah.
All hail the great man.
Congratulations.
Am I frozen solid up there for you guys? Because my screen's having a
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
But you're making a really
picture is
great face,
frozen.
though.
Yeah, the
You're making
picture.
a really
There you
great
go.
face, though.
Like you blinked
There you
one time and it froze.
Yeah, I think it's like you have to keep turning his camera on and off.
Yeah.
But
As long as he leaves it off, it won't break.
It's always stuck on a really good like freeze frame, though.
Yeah. Hey, Blake, make sure you flex your tries. So that way next time it's just like, oh, look at these giant arms I have. Blake's like 5'6", I think. He's a short king, straight up short king.
Short king.
Hey man.
Where did you go in PA to get that training, Eric?
I went. It was an hour south of Pittsburgh. It's at a place called Archangel Defense. The primary instructor there, his name is Kerry Dugan Jr. And he's a big deal. He's well connected in GOA and USCCA. He's a phenomenal shooter and a better instructor. He can outshoot me all day, and that's kind of what I look for in instructors. I talked about this earlier. Can you demonstrate, articulate, and reproduce that result? I didn't have to pay for the course itself. The $1,500 was getting there. Getting back, and hotel and rental, rental car, but and ammo, obviously. But it was a 2-day instructor development course where I was shooting. Oh, there's Blake. Where I was shooting. He was essentially, I was there as a student, but every time he would do like a course of fire or an iteration saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing," he kind of leave me alone to do my own thing, and then he would let me observe everybody else and how he taught. So like it was super fun. It was really cool to see. And he has an established shooting school. That's all he does. All he does is teach people how to shoot. It was really cool to see his take on this stuff and how he was able to really break things down so they're simple. I'm kind of retarded. So it's really cool to see how he was able to really improve. Like he gave me a lot of confidence behind running a dot on a Glock, because I've never run dots in my life. I've been an iron sight guy just because of the Army and just because I've been shooting limited in USPSA last year, stock service pistol. It's just what I've been doing. And this year picking up optics feels like a cheat code. But he kind of gave me that like first introductory to, hey, let's push you outside your comfort zone in a controlled environment. But I dropped a 5-inch shot group at 35 yards with a Glock. I've never done that before in my life. And it was because he had the ability to like, hey, isolate your trigger press like this. Obviously, we're shooting at 35 yards, so your cadence is going to be a little slower. Leave the dot on the center of the target and trust the gun to do the rest. And then, like, if you are in that area and you want to go take a course with him, it is absolutely worth every penny you will spend.
Yeah, because we're in Maryland and we can't find shit here.
Yeah,
Like,
I know
H was
a guy
the
named-
closest one.
I know a guy named Greg Cruz up there in Maryland. He's an old Force Recon sniper. He's a great dude. I think he still works for Smith & Wesson as one of their gunsmiths, but he would be worth your time too. He's a phenomenal dude. He was my first official firearms instructor outside of the military. And he's been shooting competition for a long time. He's worth your time, dude. On the East Coast, so you got my buddy Josh Morgan's out there, and my buddy Brandon Jackson's out there. All those guys are down in Tennessee,
Josh, good dude.
Pennsylvania area. Oh yeah. And if you want to learn how to shoot, just go to one of those guys with master in front of their name somewhere. And it's worth the money. It can get expensive, but it is worth the money, because you're going to go, if you go into a practical performance shooting class, and you're just like, hey, I'm going to learn how to be fast and accurate, and that's your only goal, you're going to smoke anybody in a tactical situation, because you're going to be faster, more accurate, and you're going to be able to process data faster. So what competition shooting does is it maps new neural pathways, and it forces your neurotransmitters to develop new routes, and it increases speed, duration, and time on target and time processing. So your analytical data processing speeds get way faster when you do something new. And if you keep doing something that requires speed and accuracy, so you see these guys like Jerry Michleck, like Nils Johansson, like Shane Cooley, all these super high level fast shooters, their brains can literally process data that fast, because they're not shooting until they have established an appropriate sight picture on a target, and they can do it like that. And so the human brain is capable of this very fast processing speed. There is a way to get there. Some people it's slower than others, some people it's faster than others, but there is a way to get there. And if you don't look at performance shooting, it's just like, oh, this is for competition, bro. Throw in basic tactics, knowing the difference between cover, concealment, and 360 security, and you're a performance shooter. So this is something I told Brandon when Brandon shot the Missouri State match with me and a couple buddies, and we did our own little podcast on the standard issue. And if I had Brandon take like a solid month, or even just 1 week, 5 days, where all he did for 10 hours a day was train CQB with a high level instructor, because he's a carryout master and IDPA master, because he's fast and he's accurate and he can process all this stuff. And he and I get in a force on force situation after he'd had all that training, so he understood the dynamics of CQB stuff. He would smoke me in a gunfight every single time, because he's faster, he's more accurate, and he can process stuff quicker. So the whole benefit to just performance shooting in general, is to be able to shoot fast and shoot accurately. Performance is the king of shooting, and performance tactical defensive, in my opinion. And don't look at
one of my favorite known quotes is you can outshoot bad tactics, but you can't out tactic shitty shooting.
Fact. Straight facts. Not every gunfight's a competition, but not every competition is a gunfight, but every gunfight is a competition. And coming in second means you might die. And the worst part about
open division.
No, that's right. That's right. It's the gun you brought to that confrontation.
We're talking about the same guy.
I'm pretty sure that's an Eric Kangas original, but you know,
it is.
Hey,
it's
I'm gonna get a
protection guy.
Oh, ASP, yeah. So I'm in a group with him, and he knows I can smoke him in a gunfight. I told him, I was like, hey, John, I know I'm gun Amish, but if you ever want to come out here with the big boys, he's like, oh no, you can outshoot me, hands down. I'm just saying, you're still gun Amish. I was like, oh, we're gonna fight now, mister. Great cat, though. Great cat.
And in case you guys weren't looking at the chat, there's some people I assume that you guys know, Blake and Eric, that are talking in the chat. If you guys want to respond to them or shout them out or anything.
So Dot Gun is Brandon Jackson this way. He's the guy that just shot that perfect match. You guys know Cocked Firearms. He's gonna give me a Smith & Wesson competitor. He just doesn't know it yet. My wife's in here too. And then my team captain Josh from Anchor Point Warhorse Ordnance, he's in here. He actually he put quotations around specials, so I think he's I think that refers to my lackluster shooting, because he said one special guest and one special. Yeah.
Oh, we do got to get all the boys together for
can I have a little tiki talk match? That'll be fun.
Dude, that would be so good.
Is that this one here, Warhorse?
Yeah, that's Warhorse Ordnance. So Warhorse Ordnance makes shooting gear. They make belts, slings, sling keepers. I have had a lot of direct input on their products. Josh has had a lot of direct input on their products. Now, I initially signed with Warhorse first. They found me on TikTok. We're like, hey, we like this guy. Let's sign him. So if you go to the pro staff tab there, you'll see my smiling face. But so Josh actually really helped develop the L3 and the L2 professional, the Pro Series belt for like USPSA and stuff like that. Yeah, man. Hey, that's as honest as I can get. But so Warhorse they make really good belts, and especially so their big thing is like they hate 511. because 511 is just overpriced Chinese crap. All this shit is made in the US. All the fabric is, all the threads they use, all the buckles they use, it's all made in the US, and it's comparable to a lot of stuff. So
and
the
they do
newest
custom
product,
fitting, right, Eric?
oh, absolutely. They made a belt for a guy with a 75-inch waist.
God.
Wow.
Well,
Yep.
I guess we found our battle belts, Rob.
Right.
Me and him were just talking about we need battle belts.
Yes.
Shoot them an email, just order it up, and in the note say, hey, my waist is X big. So real quick, well, I got you guys.
Oh,
By the
wow.
way, I'm going to
Crap
add the
kills,
link
Eric.
to
Are you
this
wearing pants?
in the description.
Pulling my laptop. Oh, wait, no, yes, 3's here. All right, cool. So something that Warhorse did that I am a huge fan of on their battle belt system is they took some inspiration from like the competition stuff, and they're like, hey, let's use that for the combat stuff. So what they did is on all their combat belts, you have what's called a total wrap system. So it actually elastics to itself on the backside of the belt, and then you clip it in place. So without having to sit there and fuck with the Velcro on your inner belt as you're putting this on, put your inner belt on tight, lay this over the top, and then buckle it. And because it sits on itself, you get 3 points of connection instead of just the one. So all the combat belts, and so essentially all they did is like, hey, all of our competition belts overlap like that. So why don't our combat belts? I was like, that's a great question. Why don't they? And so now they do. The XO1, the S1, S2, and S3 all have this overlapping loop. And the other best part about that is you don't lose any real estate. So if you wanted to put a mag carrier right here on this loop, on this very front loop, or a knife or something else, you absolutely can. The S2 in and of itself is specifically made for the Tech Lock system. But here's the best part. You don't lose any Velcro coverage because of the way they do their pockets. So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, they make good stuff. This was my direct design. So no complaints.
That's pretty impressive.
I appreciate it, man. It's the autism. I'm not even kidding. Like they were like, hey, how should we make this? And I was like, redneck ingenuity. Yeah. It's just weird how it works. And it's not difficult if you're willing to look at a problem from the outside. And cause you have to emotionally detach yourself from a product you're developing, because I've pitched products to people in the past, like big companies and stuff like that. And they said, yeah, you can go fuck yourself. And it's like literally there's like, yeah, no, you have nothing. The email I got last from I forget, I think it was We the People Holsters. They said, you have nothing to offer us.
Really?
I'm the primary driving force behind the Pro Series holster for Anchor Point holsters. That is my design. And I had nothing to offer We the People. And like I've emailed big belt companies like, hey, have you thought about trying this? And they've literally told me, he's like, you have nothing to offer us. And then I approached guys like Warhorse and Anchor Point. They're like, bro, this is brilliant. The L3 in and of itself is their best selling product now. And that's the one that me and Josh created. Like this outsells all their belts by itself. So
well, I guess I'm not getting We the People.
bro, they make
honestly, man, We the People holsters is not great. They're not the worst in the world. It's still Kydex, but there's better stuff to be had for save up another, buy one less Starbucks coffee and you can get a better holster.
I give We the People like 4 out of 10.
Yeah,
like they're pretty bad.
For their quick fit holsters, they're holsters that I buy while I'm waiting for my holster to get made.
Gotcha.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
Can you take me higher?
And so you said you you're on the website here for Anchor Point holsters?
Yeah,
Eric?
yeah. You'll look up Anchor Point holsters. You'll be on the pro staff tab there too. Cocked firearms. That's my wife. Just so you know, that Liberty. That's my wife. That's why she's calling me babe. I appreciate you, dude. No, much love.
Oh, you have some.
I was about to say.
You have some competition in there.
I thought that was a guy.
Hey man. It's all good. It's all good. I used to, when I was a bouncer, I got hit on by gay guys so much, it just stopped bothering me at some point. Actually, the best pickup line I ever heard was from a gay dude. We're closing down the bar. It's 2 a.m., so we're trying to get everybody out. I was like, excuse me, sir. Hey, you and your girlfriend got to leave. And he said, oh, yeah, we'll be leaving soon. By the way, Mr. Bouncer, sir, what's your name? I was like, well, my name's Eric. He was like, oh, that's cute. I was just wondering what my future husband's name was. I was like, it's pretty smooth.
Did you go home with him that night?
No, I don't bat for his team, homie.
Did you at least give him a little rub and tug in the back of the?
No. I get hit on by gay guys a lot on Instagram. Like, I get hit on by gay guys probably 2 or 3 times a week on Instagram. They're like, hey, do you sell nude? Like, I've literally gotten that message verbatim at least a dozen times this year. Like, they just shoot. It's wild. They're just like, hey, you sell nudes? I'm like, what? I have a Bible verse on my profile. What makes you think I'm going to tell you how much?
I would be like, I still got it.
Everything's for sale, boy.
Hey, but gun bunnies ain't hitting on me, but the gay bros are. So let's go.
Hey.
At least you have options, man.
Yeah. I don't want those kind of options.
Right?
That's a P. Diddy party, man. No, thank you. Oh, yeah. Are you here from Craigslist? I hope you know that door was locked for your protection. You stuck in here with me now, boy. Oh, man. Oh. I hope my mom's not watching this. I'm going to get a phone call from her tomorrow and be like, son, I knew I raised you. You tried, Mom. You tried. I love you. My wife's in here watching this, though, so will you sell your worn socks? Absolutely, Brandon, but only to you. Oh, good grief.
Oh, man.
No, good times. Good
I used to do a little bouncing down in Texas, and it gets interesting.
There you go.
Yeah, it gets interesting.
Do not tell the story again. We already censored it one time, Austin. All right.
He's itching to
You
tell
met with a dude? Is that what happened? Was it a tranny? Like, okay. I know a guy that's done that. He went down there and there was balls.
Listen, that would have been better than the story he told. All right, if him banging a tranny would have been better. Than the story he told.
No, it's not an embarrassing story. But no, I used to have a lot of good interactions with, some rowdy people and everything, drunk girls, gay guys and stuff when I was bouncing down in Texas.
And stuff.
You said drugged girls?
Drugged girls.
That's the only way
You said drugged.
That's the only way I can get them nowadays, though.
I was about to say, what the hell are you doing down there?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Little Bill Cosby action. A little Bill Cosby in there.
This went down the rabbit hole real quick. I thought we were supposed to be talking about guns.
Right? Want to come to a
We haven't even begun to talk about the tuck options yet.
Oh man.
Hang on. Reeling back.
Target, I love Target.
Yeah,
I love Target.
Let's go back. We were talking about shooting.
Yeah. Back to guns. Let's see here.
So, for people that are trying to get faster and more accurate, what drills and like what drills can they do?
So more accurate, I think last time I said a lot of it would be fundamentals and just mastering those, no specific drills. I wouldn't necessarily call it a drill, but kind of that aim small, miss small for precision practice stuff. Put a paster on your target and at 3 yards, 5, 7, 10, try to put 3 rounds on that paster. By the time you get back to about 10, if you're putting 3 within, a quarter inch of that paster, you're doing pretty good. If you're shooting a 1-inch group at 10 yards, you're still doing pretty good. As far as faster, I really like to run doubles, just drills of doubles. There's nothing special about it, just mags full of doubles. The occasional bill drill. I do a lot of bill drills.
Occasional, my ass.
Yeah, a lot of bill
every weekend. Oh, here's a bill drill.
Hey, that last one was from like last winter. All right.
Did you beat a 1.5 yet, Blake?
No, I got a 1.53 last year, but I didn't get it on camera, so it doesn't count.
Ooh,
That doesn't count. It never happened.
Doesn't count.
I think the fastest one I've posted on here is 1.64, and that was screaming.
That's pretty respectable though. Like anybody, so like for brand new shooters, if they're like, hey, what? So if someone that just bought a handgun, it's like, hey, I've never really shot before. If you can do a bill drill with like 4 alphas and 2 Charlies in 3 seconds, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
At 7 yards. Like that's kind of like my very baseline test because it gives you a little more leeway, but it still allows for appropriate speed and good weapons handling.
Oh, damn it.
Who's Bill and where can I buy his drill?
Yeah, as far as Bill Wilson from Wilson Combat developed this back in like the 1970s, I think, and the whole idea behind a bill drill was literally to either dump your mag because they were still carrying 1911s a lot at the time, or your cylinder on a 6-shot revolver and put all those shots on target quickly to affect quick hits. The El Presidente drill also kind of stemmed from that time, to where you would turn and face away from the target, turn, fire 3 total of 6 rounds, 2 on each target, do reload, and then fire a total of 6 more rounds with two on each target. And the idea behind this was to stop kidnappers in Colombia from coming to snatch people, because they normally send out 3-man snatch teams to try to fight off a bodyguard. And from that too, you have the Mozambique drill, which transpired in Mozambique, I think in I don't even remember. And I think Charles Beckwith, the guy that started the Delta Force, was the one that really implemented that. And we call it a failure to stop drill. Because 2 center mass and 1 to the head.
This didn't quite have enough, the old 38 special.
Man, no kidding.
Went back to the 45 ACP. Good Lord's caliber.
So the Mozambique in and of itself, that was a drill that was because it happened in an airport in Mozambique. It's also known as the failure drill, the failure to stop drill. It's just 2 to the body, 1 to the head. And it's meant to be done at 3 to 7 yards. So it just kind of depends on what you're trying to train, but it is a very close, very intimate, very fast kind of, oh no, this guy's got body armor, 2 shots under mass won't stop him. And come to find out that 2 shots won't stop you. All the data I can find from the DOD and DOJ for small arms, 9mm, 40, 45, and 5.56 indicate that you need anywhere from 4 to 7 rounds for the mid-high thoracic cavity to actually affect stopping hits on the human body if there's not body armor included. So like shooting 2 times under mass like they do in competition is not practical for a self-defense situation. For a self-defense situation, you want to send 5 and make sure they're not alive. So the nice part about that is most people carry guns with like anywhere from 10 to 15 rounds in a magazine now. So it allows you to have anywhere from 2 to 3 strings of fire in a magazine. It's like, oh no, I'm in a situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let me assess. Oh, another bad guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me assess. Oh, this guy needs addressed and that target still needs addressed. But I've already engaged them enough to buy myself time to make good follow-up stopping shots if I'm really in that sort of desperate situation.
So I guess that right there takes care of the 10 rounds in a magazine bullshit, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, that takes care of itself, because in the United States, the average accuracy for self-defense shooting for all law enforcement with a handgun in a self-defense shooting is 30%. 30% hits on the body. That's not to the stop zone, the thoracic cavity. That's from the tips of your fingers, the top of your head, to the bottom of your toes.
Do you know what it is for like that? I can't remember if it's pretty
it's
much
20%
everybody.
for cops.
Yeah, I mean like the hot like
with handguns.
We'll say DevGru guys for everything. It's less than 40%.
Not even DevGru guys aren't that good. You want to look at CAG or SIF.
I mean, even those guys, they're all under 40%.
So during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, we found out that a sniper fires on average 2.2 rounds to achieve a kill, where the standard infantry platoon fires anywhere from 12 to 1,500 rounds to achieve a kill. So that should give you. So the United States military fights by volume of fire, not by precision and accuracy. That's why the sniper role exists. Now, if you remove the whole precedent of accuracy by volume, and you allow for precision-based training, which takes more time and more money, which the military won't do unless you're in a specialized unit like CAG, DevGru, Ranger Regiment, something like that, then you'll actually get that high-quality practical marksmanship. 10th Group has a contract with Ben Steger, and he goes and teaches them how to shoot rifles and pistols.
Great. Here we got Warhorse Ordnance in the chat.
Yep, there it is. Hey, what's up, Seth? Welcome, brother. Good to see you.
All right.
So my dad just texted me. He said, just so you know, Eric, your mother is listening to your podcast. We're going to get some Tabasco for your mouth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm trying, okay?
Put some soap in that mouth.
Your mistake
So when I
telling
was a
Mom
kid,
you were on a podcast.
when I was a kid, when I lied, so my parents are very religious, and I am too. When I was a kid, when my parents would catch me lying, my dad would give me either an eighth or a quarter teaspoon of Tabasco on my tongue because he said, according to scripture, the tongue is a fire, which he's very right. Well, joke's on him. I love spicy stuff now. It took years to kind of break that habit, but man, my wife keeps Chipotle Tabasco in the fridge. So whenever I want something spicy, I'll throw cayenne pepper on there. I'll throw red pepper flakes on there. My wife's a wet redhead though. So I like things spicy, man.
That's
Big
exactly
homie
how it
knows
was.
what I'm talking about. I'm trying to clean up my speech, man, but like the 8 years in the army kind of screwed me on that. So.
Yeah.
And do you you mind talking about it, or you just
What do you want? No, absolutely.
bury that in the past? What was your
I'm-
MOS?
So I joined the Army in 2009 as a 19 Delta Cap Scout. That's just fancy for reconnaissance specialist. That MOS is super unnecessary. Learning how to do reconnaissance is just something you can teach in a course that takes a month after you do basic infantry training. They're actually getting rid of that MOS now. They're getting Army is
had
getting
them.
rid of it.
And
Yeah.
the infantry platoon or the headquarters
scouts, yep.
platoon had they would just have a scout platoon.
Yeah, that would normally be like your sniper platoon, because the sniper's main job isn't actually to shoot, it's to do reconnaissance. It's to send up salute and spot reports so that way you can better
With
paint a
mortar.
battlefield. Yep, exactly. Do your reconnaissance. But so I did that. I was active for 6 years. I deployed to Iraq in 2011, Kosovo in 2014. By the grace of God, I survived 2 IED
You went to
strikes.
Kosovo?
Yeah, man. I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, by the grace of God, I survived 2 IED strikes while I was in Iraq. Once on the 11th of August in 2011, and the second one on the 24th of August 2011. Ironically, I was listening to the Braveheart soundtrack both times I was hit by an IED on my iPod. So I didn't do that again after the second time. I learned my lesson. And no, I was first infantry when I was in Iraq. I was first ID with 5-4 Cav. And
was
then
the second
I was
time like surreal, just like son of a bitch.
no, bro. The second time was an EFP, and it actually melted our engine block.
Oh
So
shit!
if that guy had waited a second, that EFP probably would have penetrated the crew cab, and I was sitting behind the TC. It would have probably killed the driver, taken the gunner's legs off, killed the TC, killed me, and killed the guy sitting across from me. If that guy waited
There's
about
so
1
many
second.
people that don't know what that is, or didn't know
Enhanced
what that
force
was until,
projectile. Oh yeah.
No, until what's that show with Chris Pratt just came out?
Oh, crap. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Man, at this point, he should just be a full-fledged Navy SEAL. Hollywood spent $5.1 million to train him, so.
Yeah, that's on track.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Post Malone's a shooter himself too, actually.
Yeah, he is.
Really?
He got smart,
Yeah.
man. He's like, I've got money. Let me go train. I don't know who he trained with. I don't remember, but I do know they're pretty respected in the.
It's
in the
Fog and
industry.
some of the guys, the Forward Observations Group guys.
Oh, FOB guys. Okay, yeah.
You
I've heard
talking
good
about
things about him.
Terminal List? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, that's the show.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They
So
spent
I
$5.1 million to train him for that movie.
well, just in general,
that
like,
series?
that's how much
Oh.
Hollywood's trained him for all the stuff for the Marvel movies and stuff. But yeah, I deployed to Kosovo in 2014. I was actually attached to a Ranger company, a LRS company, Long Range Surveillance Reconnaissance, LRC, Long Range Surveillance Reconnaissance Company. I was one of like 4 scouts in the platoon. The rest were all infantry guys who hated my guts, and I hated them because they were stupid. There are 2 types of people in the Army. There's strong soldiers, smart soldiers. First part of my career, first 3 years, I was a strong soldier. I went down to Fort Hood, won Soldier of the Quarter down there, or Soldier of the Month, won Top Gun within being at the unit within 2 months. Knew my job. I can still tell you there's 360 degrees in a compass, 6,400 mils in a compass, 17.7 mils in a degree. And if you're using standard adjust fire polar and you're not using GPS, you want to use mils so that way your rounds will be more accurate. And that
And
shit
they're
I
multiples
haven't
of 10,
used.
which is good
Yep.
for dumb people.
Yeah. So like that's just, practical. My pace count 62. My pace count for 100 meters is 62 on a flat surface, 71 going uphill, and then 74 going downhill.
And the
That's
draft
just useless knowledge. No, not doing it. Not doing it. Absolutely, I will not go fight another man's war ever
You are
again.
going to serve Kamala Harris, and you're going to love it.
Well, Kamala Harris is good at serving
Mhm.
with her legs spread.
Her knees on the floor.
Dude, she's a prostitute, and you will not
Heels up.
like. She's a prostitute. That's
She is.
that's the nicest way to put it. She does
Yeah.
not belong. She does not belong in a position of authority. She doesn't belong anywhere near any sort of semblance of having responsibility over the American populace in any
You
way,
guys-
shape, or
I
form.
agree.
You guys see that interview she did to where she was asked if she was president instead of Joe Biden, what she would change? And she was basically like, "Oh, I wouldn't
Nothing.
change anything.
Mhm.
You know, I actually had my hands in most of that. It's like, so you did fucking jack shit, and
And fuck the country up.
Remember, she was like, "I'm not Joe Biden."
behind
He
the
was
scenes,
there doing
Well,
the
she
debate.
can't say she's going to change too much because she's also responsible partially for the last 4 years. So,
Yeah.
Trying to
Read
separate
that.
yourself from these past 4 years, and it just
Yeah.
it's not working.
Hey, Josh, didn't you say you had a clip of Trump from that dinner?
if
Oh,
Kamala
boy.
sounds like your ex,
Corresponding.
you need to evaluate your dating life.
Oh,
Her voice is
no.
annoying.
Oh, that's great.
Willie Brown, yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Forward by Willie Brown. Yeah, so there's a clip from this correspondence dinner or something that they had recently, and Trump just pretty much starts roasting all the Democrats there.
Oh man.
I saw a little bit of it on Instagram, but I had to get on here.
We're generically screwed as a country right now. So
yeah.
Well, you ain't wrong about that. As sad as it is to say,
to the FBI agents that are most likely watching this right now, if you want to talk, we can talk, but I'm coming armed this time.
So,
all right. Here's
is it too late to say in Minecraft?
In Minecraft.
No, I don't care anymore.
The
I'm
government would never spy on us.
Nah.
Oh, come on! Didn't you read that Snowden thing? They've been doing it for like 30 years.
That's all Russian misinformation. The government would never spy on us.
It's propaganda, right?
Yeah.
I would not have missed the Al Smith dinner for anything in the world. I still remember coming here as a very young guy with my father, Fred. He was a great guy, my father. He was a tough cookie, but he had a very big heart. He was, anytime we'd walk down the street, and you don't see it too much anymore, there'd be people standing with tin cans, and he would always take out $100 and put it in that can. And I always thought it was beautiful. And frankly, I even think more so now it was beautiful, because nowadays you don't see it so much. But I miss him, and we used to come here very religiously. And a great New York tradition has been born 79 years ago. It was born 79 years ago, and there are some people that were here for almost that length.
What'd you say?
There must have been a lot of ODs in New York around that time, putting $100.
That was a lot of money back in the day.
Yeah. Now it's about 3 bags of groceries.
Yeah. It's like 3 items at Costco.
Oh,
Yeah.
bro.
Here's the clip for
We need new leadership in this country right now. We have someone in the White House who can barely talk, barely put together 2 coherent sentences, who seems to have mental faculties of a child. It's sad. There's a person that has nothing going, no intelligence whatsoever, but enough about Kamala Harris. Let's get on to something else.
Wow.
I know
All right.
Kamala's
Enough.
word because she spends a lot of time complaining. I won't agree to another debate. But the
All
truth
right,
is,
boys.
I've debated twice this year, once against Joe Biden and once against David Muir of ABC.
Hello, yes, police. Yeah, I'd like to report a murder.
I'd like to report a murder. Drunk here.
All right, boys.
Oh.
My phone's gonna die here probably in the next 10 minutes, so let's run through some gun training questions.
Yep.
If somebody has a list of them.
Somebody
gonna
pull
get
up the list.
taller?
I'm using my phone.
Okay. So we
When are you
have
gonna get taller, Blake?
instructor qualifications and experience. What'd you say, Eric?
I asked Blake when he was going to get taller. Isn't that like part of the?
You know, for those of you that don't know, do you guys know who our friend Kendra is as well? Call sign Granola on TikTok. So Kendra and I are about. I think Kendra's 5'2" and I'm 5'3".
Yep.
You look 6 foot on here, so you good.
Right?
Thanks, buddy.
It's the arms, man. He got giant pythons for arms. You know.
So instructor qualifications for me, paper credentials are fine and dandy. They're not a bad thing to have, but I think Eric Henry and I used to comment this on a lot of people that were crap talking buddies of ours. I'm a skills on demand kind of guy. So if you're going to be teaching something, I want to be able to see it demonstrated at a proficient level. It doesn't have to be perfect. We all mess up once in a while, but you better be able to demonstrate it at a proficient level and at a, semi-professional level every time. Kind of look, especially for new people, vetting instructors, look for reviews of people if they've had bad experiences. I hate to rag on the NRA, but the NRA firearms instructor certification does not mean much to me at all. You can get most of it online. So somebody that knows their stuff and has that skills on demand. Eric?
I'm right there with you. If you want my credentials, you can find them on practicescore.com. Just look at the number of matches I've fired, where I've placed. I have 2 endorsements from retired Tier 1 operators, and I can provide another one from an active duty Special Forces medic. I've had a retired Tier 1 operator come and audit my firearms training in person. I'm right there with Blake, performance on demand. If you cannot perform, again, if you can't articulate, demonstrate, and reproduce that result, you have no place teaching any way, shape, or form. There are a few instructors out there I respect because they're honest about what they teach or what they don't teach. One of the pro staffers for Warhorse, his name is Craig Hogan. He owns a company called Secret Squirrel Tactical down in Utah. He has been completely transparent from the day I've met him. He said, I teach people that have never shot a gun the basic concepts of marksmanship and self-defense. And he has never tried to expand upon that or go outside his field of specialty. He's been honest. He's been transparent. Coach Kelly tries to sit there and act like he's, that he can sit there and teach you how to become a GM and USPSA or a master in IDPA. And the dude can barely clear a holster in 2 seconds. I mean, it's kind of like my brother goes to church with this schmuck that is the commander of the ATF SWAT team locally for here in Kansas for the region. And he has convinced my brother that 2.5 seconds from the holster to first shot is fast. I dispelled that rumor last time I went to training, and I sent my brother 2 videos with part times, 2.5 seconds, and did build drills in less than 2 in both those videos, and then sent them to him. And I was like, this is why you shouldn't listen to people with badges, because 2.5 seconds from holster to first shot is abysmal, especially at range. Oh, dude. So my fastest first shot out of the holster is 0.69 seconds.
Yeah, my best ones are in the 0.7s. My consistently fast ones are mid 0.8s.
I was gonna say probably about an 8.2, 8.3. That's what it looks like whenever you do. Yeah, that's about right. And that's what you should be trying to achieve, because so that kind of speed will come with repetition. Don't try to rush it. Enjoy the journey. If you go shoot 12 matches a year, that's going to put you ahead of 90% of the gun owning populace. There's 160 million gun owners in the United States. Roughly 10% of them train on a regular basis. And according to the DOJ, that's going to the range and firing less than 1,000 rounds 3 to 6 times a year when it's nice out. I have fired almost 10,000 rounds this year. My buddy Luke has fired over 20,000 rounds already this year. Blake's probably around in the 15,000 round region. Yep. So there's a difference between high quality volume and everybody else. I don't know any, my two older brothers both own guns. I don't think they've shot anything at all this year. They have sent 0 rounds. And they're average American gun owners, and not to spite them or anything, but that is the standard that the industry tries to hold themselves to. I run into so many people that work in gun shops or work for a specific company that have no clue how valuable speed and accuracy is, and they have no idea how to implement it. And they just sit there and repeat this 1980s, 1990s dogma of slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
I got something for you. Is stopping power in a handgun cartridge a real thing? The answer, before my phone dies, is no. We can get all into kinetic energy and momentum, but I have it all written down because some guy really got me going on it. There is not a handgun cartridge that exists that has the force to knock a grown man to the ground. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it does. It's 50 caliber BMG.
That's not a pistol cartridge.
True. Well, that's not true. Someone did make a break action single shot. They call it the wrist breaker.
That's a one-off.
It is a one-off. Only 10 of them were produced, I think, or maybe 2. I don't know.
Also, here's the gross part of that. Your flesh doesn't have the steering capability to knock you down anyway. It'll just put a nasty hole through you.
You need constant kinetic energy transfer to disrupt your central cortex. So again, 4 to 7 shots, high thoracic cavity. So that's why you train strings of 5, because I guarantee most of you guys carry either Glock 19s or something similar with a 15-round magazine in it. Just train strings of 5. You fire 5 rounds at a threat. You put 3 of those rounds on target. You're doing better than most Americans, and then that allows you to reassess and send more as needed. So you're buying yourself building. So there's 2 types of shooting. When like legitimate shooting, there's a reactive and predictive. Reactive shooting is more commonly known as point shooting. So the question that arises a lot is, at what range do you have to physically start aiming to achieve the hits you desire?
About 7.
Outside 10.
Outside 7.
Yeah, 7 to 10. Most good shooters are going to be 7 to 10 yards before they have to start aiming. For
if
me,
you guys haven't seen those retention shooting matches we used to do, I mean, you can make, if you practice, you can make hits at 7 and 10 from retention.
Yep.
Is that what retention's for? No, but same concept.
So it's just, and then predictive shooting is where you're actually either putting a front sight post on a target with a proper sight picture, or putting a dot in an acceptable, sight picture before you send rounds. Predictive shooting is aimed shooting, for lack of a better term. But those are the 2 things that you're going to look at when it comes to training. You're going to, I train predictively or reactively out to 10 yards because my life depends on, I'm probably going to start in second and I have to end in first, because the way I'm probably going to end up in a gunfight is someone might be asking me for directions, or someone's like, hey, do you know where XYZ building is? And I'm just out there trying to be polite, be like, oh yeah, it's that way. And I could be not queued up at all. I could be like, oh, this person's not a threat. And then all of a sudden, bam, they've been able to disguise the fact that they're trying to do me harm. And I've read the chat, Brandon. I know your ex is like Kamala, but so they're whipping, this guy could whip out. I could be sitting there minding my business, doing my job, and you walk right up behind me and shoot me in the back of the head. I was talking to my buddy Luke today. He's a cop. And I was like, dude, I was like, let's talk about a scenario here. Because he's very defensively oriented, because he's responded over 50 shootings, I think, in the past year or 2 years where he works. And I said, if I really wanted to shoot a cop that pulled me over, it would not be difficult. I would disguise myself. I'd act like I'm friendly, say, hey, officer, how you doing? I'd have my gun out. I'd have it hidden underneath my armpit or something. And then I wouldn't make a fast movement. It'd be slow, and I'd get a headshot at contact range. Now, that's if the cop's being careless. If you're a cop out there and you're going to see this, don't walk right up onto my window. If you pull someone over, don't walk right up. Do not walk right up on someone's window. I've had 2 cops do that, because I get home from work at 1 a.m. So I get pulled over all the time. because they think I live out in the country. So they're like, oh, this guy's got to be DUI, and it's like, right, I have a duty gun with me. Leave me alone. So if you're a cop, yeah, totally. Because I'm such an irresponsible adult. If you are a cop, do not walk right up on someone's window. Stay back from it. Approach from the passenger side. Be fucking smart because your life can depend on it. Train more. You probably suck as a shooter anyway.
Stay back at that A-frame of the window so that they have to look back at you.
Yep. Yeah. It slows down their draw time, and it buys you time to react and make good shots if you need to.
So you talked a lot, or you touched briefly on all around you've put down range this year. How much of that is pistol and how much of that is rifle?
Oh no, that's just pistol. I've probably put like 4,000 rifle rounds down range this year.
Yeah, I'm probably 13,000-ish pistol.
Yeah,
5,000 rifle.
A quarter of my budget goes to ammo every year, and I've got to hook up with one of the local manufacturers.
I was about to say.
I get 5.56 for 25 cents a round because of this guy. So
if you're shopping online for bulk, and to tell your buddies, Target Sports USA is probably the best big ammo distributor that doesn't screw people over.
Probably.
They're still selling ammo for I think 9 for $10.50 a box most of the time.
25, that's 30 cents around. That's not terrible. So my rifle work can directly complement my pistol shooting now. So when I was in the Army, the 3/4 of the shooting I did, as far as when it came to just weapons in general, and include belt feds and handguns, 3/4 of it was behind an M4. So I have 8 years of thousands of reps behind an M4. So I can take those reps and I can apply the practical lessons I've learned from competition shooting and apply those to my rifle shooting, and I can make it that much better, that much faster. So if you can shoot rifle really well, the problem most rifle shooters are gonna have is understanding how that they only have 2 points of contact instead of 4. Whereas if you take a good handgun shooter and throw a rifle in their hands, they're gonna learn a lot faster.
Yeah.
The mechanics are all pretty much the same. Eyes open, vision, on target, off target, unless you're shooting super far. And then it's still find the target, get an acceptable sight, picture, send rounds.
Yep, and know your holds. And honestly, if you're shooting a 5.56, much outside, when I go confirm 0, even on my shorty, anything outside 350 it's possible to hit it. I've done 500 with an 11.5, but that's a itty bitty bullet going a long way, not doing a lot when it gets out there.
I mean, it'll still wound at 500, and at 500 it still has lethal capability if you can achieve a headshot. But that headshot has to be in that neurological band between the bottom of your article socket, your hairline, and that 3-inch band around your head.
Yeah.
And so hit a 3-inch target, hit a 3 by 8-inch target at 500 yards with 55 or with a 5.56. You're an absolute G in my book.
Yeah. Why do you think I rebuilt my SPR in 6 arc?
Oh, there you go. Ooh, like a laser beam, dog.
So,
What were you using, Josh? Okay.
What were you going to say, Josh?
So, training and philosophy approach. How would you describe your teaching style? Do you focus more on technical skills or practical scenarios?
At the very beginning, I would say just the fundamental, especially if it's somebody new, grip, stance, sight picture, sight alignment, trigger press. If you don't have those things, you can't get anywhere beyond that. I mean,
Right.
So you guys are both pretty respectable competition shooters. You guys shoot just dominant eye or both eyes open? Because I heard you say something about eyes open.
Eyes open all the time, boys.
With eyes open, with irons, I'll snap an eye shut as I'm presenting on target.
Okay, I know there's a lot of debate and shooting for that. And
if it's outside of 10 yards, when we do stage walkthroughs, I'll be like, all right, eye shut for this one, eyes open for this one. It just depends. Some of the best shooters in the world still snap an eye shut when they're making far shots, but the industry is really kind of switching back to both eyes open and just learning sight alignment on whatever eye you're trying to shoot from. Because my buddy Luke is cross-eye dominant, and I saw that one day he was shooting a match, and he was holding his gun and I was like, he's a right-handed shooter, but he holds on his left side, but he's still a great shooter. I was like, oh, okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah, I have to blink my left eye so my right eye could look down the sights.
Dude, put an eye patch on, do 100 draw strokes. I guarantee you'll train out of it. Like you'll train to draw down, because I still do it sometimes because I'm left eye dominant too. I'll still kind of cross draw a little bit. Let's just put an eye patch on and then train your body to come up to your right eye, because you're going to keep both eyes open, but you need to decide which eye that dot's going to go over, and it has to go to that side where your irons every single time. Because if you keep letting it drift across, that could cost you time. Because like a lot of people are like, I can't find my dot. That's because they didn't orient to the eye that they're trying to. If you orient to your left eye every time and you're bringing the gun up and you're cross-eye dominant, and if you get it every single time, that's what you want. Train to that. But like me, I did the dumb thing of trying to just train to my right side because I'm a right-handed shooter. So now, whenever I have these training spells pop up, I got to sit there and kind of go back. All right, let's cover up this eye and come into this one.
Would you always suggest for somebody who's like, let's say they're right hand dominant but left eye dominant, or whatever?
You said to put a patch over the left eye and then just practice that way.
Based off of what they want. If they want to stay left eye dominant, that's fine. I know guys that shoot pistols right-handed and shoot rifles left-handed. It gives them a huge advantage the way they set up their kit, because then they drop one, pick up the other, and go to work. And I'm kind of jealous because those guys are pretty ambi. But it depends on what they're comfortable with. A good instructor is going to sit there and be like, all right, hey, do you want to shoot right eye or left eye? They're like, oh, I want to stick with dominant eye. All right, easy. And they'll teach you how to do it. There's a lot of good shooters out there, I'm sure, that are, outside of Luke, that I know are cross-eye dominant, that cant their gun across, so that way they pick that optic up and they still shoot lights out. So it really doesn't matter as long as you understand, picking a spot on a target, making sure you have an acceptable sight picture to put those rounds on that specific spot. Because like Blake said, the aim small, miss small. If you pick an itty bitty spot on a target and you're sending 2, 5, 12 rounds or whatever, however many rounds you want to send there, that's what you want to do. You want to pick that spot. You want to put rounds on that specific spot. And it sucks when you're shooting cardboard targets, because you're sitting there and it's a whole cardboard target. So you're like, all right, put my dot, pick the spot in the very middle, put my dot there, send rounds. Oh, Abby Sauber, so far so good.
I was like, what is that?
Oh, your ears hurts.
Yeah, I never really considered like trying that out with because I am left eye dominant, but I'm right-handed, so it's very, very weird. I mean, I never considered it, but I've always just fired left-handed anyway, and I've done just fine.
There you go.
You could also just drive the gun across your body.
Mm-hmm.
If you're left eye, I mean, that's only going to work for a pistol, but so if I'm aiming with my left eye, just drive it out in front of the left.
You can technically do that with a rifle too, but you have to tuck your chin across, and it's just too much work.
It sucks. Or you could
cross
put
shoulder
the stupid
too.
riser that I have on my gun on and just turn it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can put
Cool.
yeah.
So
A riser is literally just a spacer that gives you. Hang on, I'll show you.
Yeah,
do you have like an optic hanging off the side of your rifle or something?
No, it's just it raises the height of your optic. It raises your height over bore. So what I have mine for is shooting with night vision. We also do some classes or not really classes, matches and trainings with night vision. But it raises your height over bore. Mine's a little excessive. That's about, what's that, 175 or something like that, 19?
Yes, yeah, 175. So this is a 1 3/4 inch riser. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So there's almost 3 inches from the base of the rail to where his optic is mounted. There's 1 3/4 inches from the base of my rail to where my optic is mounted. This right here, this space is called a riser. There you go.
And that would help with what'd you call it? Crossing your what'd you say? Cross drawing?
Mm-hmm.
I think he said cross-eye dominant. So
So if you're right-handed and left-eye dominant.
Yeah. So you could kind of turn it, right?
Yeah, you can can it across your body. Or if you're really wild, you can just cross stock it and just put your stock in your left shoulder, let your left arm go straight along the rifle, and then just press with your right hand. I've seen people do it too. It's weird.
I actually started doing shoulder transitions that way a lot of the time.
It's faster. In a CQB situation, instead of doing this whole, I got to switch and go left-handed now, just bump it to your other shoulder. I get in trouble in USPSA and IDPA for that a lot because it's illegal.
Is it?
You can't shoulder bump. You have to completely switch. I'm like, that's unsafe. People drop their PCCs, their rifles all the time trying to switch their hands over because they're dumb. It's
So
like
I
just
shouldn't
rock over
completely
the shoulder.
abandon the old school transition then?
Yes.
Lame.
Look, if you really have to shoot left-handed, something has gone really bad.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Well, and then so that's another one. That's another one that for just like not necessarily specifically law enforcement training, but we don't have to attach a story or a narrative to all of the drills and trainings that we do. There's no hostage, there's no this or that. We're working on raw skills. I'm working on your transitions between targets, your transitions on one target, throttle control, distance, close to far. They don't all have to have a backstory. And that's something that's gotten really, popular over the last few years, but it's kind of fluff to me.
All the peacetime war stories.
Yeah.
So you guys don't you don't offer like training courses that involve the those practical application like going through how to deal with an assailant who's like he's 10 feet from you with a firearm, how to handle a situation like that. You go through.
So we do, at least we do. I don't know. I can't speak for Eric. We do offer things like that, but I don't give you the scenario like there's a bad guy doing this or that. You have a target at 10 yards. I want you to engage this target with usually, Billy boys. I want you to draw and engage this target with 6 rounds in under 2.5 seconds, and I want most of them to be alphas. If you can do that and you can apply that consistently, you can apply that in any scenario that it applies to you. So I give you the tools, and you figure out where you need to apply them.
Yeah, that's fair. So I teach performance, defensive, and tactical. So there, again, I believe there's 3 styles of shooting. The defensive stuff is very specific to your people that do everyday carry. So you can have scenarios there, but again, it's performance on demand. The principles don't change from appendix to whether you're running outside the waistband holster. They don't change from tactical to performance. The difference in defensive is you're probably trying to retreat to create some space to finish that fight. Tactical, you're probably trying to advance on that threat to finish the fight. Performance, you're just trying to get from point A to point B and shoot as many alphas as you can in an acceptable time frame.
Yeah. We shot with a former national champion and a couple M's a while ago, and I have a tendency to be too careful when I get nervous shooting with people like that. So I for sure had the most alphas, but too slow.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's a balance.
Slow alphas, or you can shoot fast Charlies and win. It's got to be
Zero
really
or
fast.
hero, baby.
That's right. Full send it. Full send or no send. That being said, I have beat Jerry Michlik's bill drill with a rifle.
I get a redemption shot on for Sunday.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
So in the competitions, how are you guys judged?
Speed, accuracy,
hit factor. I'll let Eric explain because it's
so in USPSA they do something called hit factor. So if you're shooting minor power factor, which is what all the good shooters shoot, which is your A zone's worth 5 points, your C zone is worth 3, your D zone is worth 1. Mike's it's you lose 5 points on it because each shot can be worth up to 5 points. You do your points divided by your time. So if you score 40 points in 10 seconds, your hit factor is going to be a 4. The higher the hit factor, the better. In IDPA, it's time plus. IDPA, it's like golf. The faster your time, the better. At the same time, if you miss shots, accuracy is a real big thing in IDPA. If you miss shots outside the down zero, so let's say you shoot 18 rounds, so 9 targets, you shoot 18 rounds, you hit all 9 targets, but you have 5 shots outside of the down zero box, and you shot it in like 10 seconds. Those 5 shots cost you 5 seconds to your score. So instead of shooting it in 10 seconds, you shot it in 15. It's worse if you miss, because so IDPA is by time plus is like golf. The lower the score, the better. Where in USPSA is like basketball. The higher the score, the better.
So
yeah, that's what H did to us too. Remember, Rob, when we went to go train with him, if we missed, he added 5 seconds to our time.
Yep.
So here's a question: comps.
Huh?
Comps reports.
It doesn't
Compensators
matter
reports.
really.
Comp-
In your slide or your barrel, you want a ported
Yeah.
barrel and slide, or do you want a thread-on compensator? In my experience, we get to do a lot of work. I'm actually wearing their shirt. We get to do a lot of work with one of the like the
Other side.
the Gucci or gun stores in our area is Tag Firearms. So I've had the opportunity to run Sandhawks and all the cool stuff, some of the newer MPA stuff, some of the Vulcan guns. I built a pretty sweet Arc Division Comp Glock. But between the two, and it might just be that I'm a little less picky because this is the first year that I've had really nice guns to shoot with. It doesn't make that much of a difference to me. It's going to be a personal feel. Now, the problem with if you're planning on getting into competition shooting, if you're going to run a comp to gun, you're getting in the water with the sharks. That's where the big boys are. So
Open
fair
division.
warning.
Oh, so there's different divisions for if you're running comps reports.
So I'm going to tell you right now that a good enough, it doesn't matter. A comp report's not going to matter if you're a good shooter. Nils took a $538 gun and was beating guys that were shooting $4,000 guns in nationals and worlds. So
Dude, I was talking so much shit that year.
Oh yeah, it doesn't. The comps reports don't get into the whole. I need to make this mod to my gun, this mod to my gun. If you can take a Glock and shoot lights out with a Glock, there's not a single handgun on this earth that's a well-made striker fired or hammer fired pistol that you can't shoot lights out.
Yeah, I've been running $2,000 plus 2011s this year, and there are still records that I set with that Glock 19 that I customized a little bit that I haven't come close to.
Because you don't have as many reps with your 2011s. That's it.
Yeah, I'll get there, but I mean, it's just there's nothing. Hunter Constantine, the GM that we had come to a class for our guys in August. That dude has what do you say? He's got a safe full of 2011s, and that dude runs a polymer M&P.
Yep.
In most of his competitions.
Yep. Yep. It's not the gun; it's the man behind it. I can take a high point and go out to USPSA matches and not come in last. I can come in right in the middle.
Dude, we used to when we did our before it was a little less organized. We used to have stages where you had to use a random gun, and we had this high point where the sights were all jacked up, and that was one of your stage guns.
Oh man. So you'll see that actually the Halloween match that I shoot the high point in is coming up here at the end of the month. So you guys I'll record that, put that on here, and I'll dress up as a terrorist. I'll have my suicide vest on, my man dress, all that good stuff.
Is that what that's for?
Yeah, that's exactly what that's for. Yeah, that's it. That to make fun of the FBI.
Watch out for them sloped roofs, boys. I mean, I know that wasn't them, but womp womp.
It's okay. The FBI is just as incompetent as the Secret Service is.
Did anybody notice that the roof that the counter snipers were on was like a 12-12 pitch, and the one the kid was on was like a 12-3?
What's the matter, Milo?
But that one was too dangerous.
Yeah, it was unsafe.
It was unsafe.
Yeah.
My golden retriever's over here acting like he's something special. He's over here doing big. Oh, here we go. I'm glad my mom's not watching anymore. She already texted me and said, "Thanks for cleaning up your potty mouth."
Sorry, Mrs. Kangas.
No, that's all right. She knows what I'm like. She did good. All things considered. Next question. Abby.
Was there a shooter on the water tower? In Butler, Pennsylvania.
I don't care.
I will say though, about that specific incident, our presidential candidate is very lucky that that individual chose the rifle that he did, because had they chosen Grandpappy's hunting rifle, I think the outcome would have been a lot different. But if you've never shot 150 plus yards with a red dot, it's not easy.
Liar.
I mean,
I have a video of me smoking steel at 200 with an unzeroed red dot. Don't even play this game with me.
I mean, I have a video of me doing it at 200 with a pistol, but
there you go.
That's not.
There you
normal.
go. Again, yeah, that is very normal. Okay, you have to look. If your normal isn't good enough, you need to get better.
Well,
like,
I know, but like,
if your
you
normal
look at idiots like us, we're in like the top 3% of shooters in the country.
Top one.
Probably.
If you take every gun owner in the United States, anybody that shoots 12 competitions a year is in the top 1%.
Yeah. And that's like just to clarify, that's not us like, puffing ourselves up. It's just that the amount of people that actually consistently train is so small. The idiots like us get bumped up into the, stratosphere.
There are 300,000 competitive shooters in the United States every year.
Yeah. Out of 1.3 million or
160 million gun owners.
Oh, well, yeah. So
God dang.
0.01%.
The average American owns 12 firearms. Those are rookie numbers.
Those are rookie numbers.
Well, there's 12 firearms per person in the United States.
When I was in stationed at Fort Drum, there was only one guy who I'd ever met during my time in the military who had the President's 100 tab. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
I am.
But you ever met anybody or?
So Fort Hood had a competition for President's 100, and I came in third, so I missed out.
Oh wow!
I couldn't shoot I couldn't shoot a pistol left-handed. That was my only issue.
Yeah, I've been in the governor's 20 or the top 20 of the governor's 20 the last 4 years, the top 10 the last 3 years. Not quite the same thing, but similar competition.
Oh, very impressive, man.
I actually took second. So I work at a local agency, but I'm more of a file clerk these days. Took a different job at a different office. And I took second in patrol carbine this year, which I shot it with a buddy of mine, and I had them introduce me as a file clerk just to hopefully encourage people to do better next year.
What is the most common safety mistake you see that students make?
One of two: fingers on triggers when they ought not be, and pointing guns at shit they shouldn't be.
How do you address them?
For me, I try to, the first couple times I try to address it in a polite conversational tone, redirect. About the third time, it's a little less nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a one-strike rule. I worked at the largest public outdoor range in Kansas for a while, and people do this with loaded guns because they have a squib. My students don't do that shit because I have a very... So before we do when I have brand new shooters, the first 3 hours with me is all dry fire. You don't actually, there is no shooting for the first 3 hours on an introductory class that I do because it's all mechanics. Stance, grip, draw, magazine exchanges, speed reloads, tactical reloads, admin reloads, whatever you want to call them. Putting snap caps in your magazines, failure to fires, double feed, stovepipes. So for the first 3 hours, you don't shoot at all. You just do mechanics. So
do you have a PowerPoint?
No, I have 32 hours of training that's been audited in person by a retired Tier 1 operator.
Oh, I was just curious, like if you wrote the same kind of government PowerPoint that I did.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
One of my Marine Corps buddies looked at some training that me and another buddy of mine both wrote, and we both taught for the state government. And he's a Army vet as well. He's like, oh, you boys didn't get taught to teach by the government at all.
Yeah, death by PowerPoint. No, so I have each. So you can break it up into 6 or 8 hour days, depending on how you want to teach the course itself. But it's literally a step by step every hour. Each, this is what we're doing for X number of minutes. So for the first hour, it's stance, why you do A-frame, why you line up on the target, why you square up to the target, how you position your feet, how you bend at the knees, hinge at the waist a little bit, find your comfort zone so you're not standing up too far and you're not crouched too far down. Teaching people so you can step off when you're in this shooting position. Draw a stroke during that first hour too. A lot of people adjust gear. It's like, oh, I don't like where my holster is. I can't get my gun out. Yeah, because it's sitting on your ass cheek. Like, bring it up, put it on your hip bone, put it up at your 2 o'clock. Well, I don't like it because it's too far forward because it hits my leg when I run. No, it doesn't.
Deal with it.
Yeah, it's like I carry my gun pretty aggressively on my on my duty belt and my tactical gear and my
Dude, I'm gonna
competition
send
stuff
you a picture of my brother. My brother straight up carries his almost like on the front of
on the
his
appendix.
thigh.
Yeah, I know guys that do that. The inside of my forearm indexes my handgun on every external platform I carry. I can drop my arms to my sides, and the butt of the handgun touches the inside of my forearm, so I can always index it without actually looking like I index it. And I can draw it straight out and get in the fight right away if I need to. Like,
know
you
what's
should set up
cool?
all your shit the same way.
I learned that the forearm thing. Has anybody ever read the old Western book Shane? I think it's from the 30s or 40s. It's just an old. It's kind of like an old Louis L'Amour book. The gunfighter talks about it in the book. Read it when I was like 10. Heard that in a class when I was in my early 20s. I was like, holy shit, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that is pretty neat. It's something good to know. Like, know your kit, know your gear.
Yeah. And
Know
so
your
that was another one. A lot of people want to do classes, training in, full kit and all that. And I think that's great. But if you can't do the bare minimum with just your holster and your rifle and sling on, we're not ready to put 40 pounds of shit on and go try to do it even harder.
Facts.
Yeah.
This is what you need when you show up to one of my pistol or rifle classes. You need a belt with at least 3 pistol mag carriers, 1 rifle mag carrier, and a holster.
Yeah.
Then pistol rifle and the appropriate number of magazines and ammo. So 4 magazines for your pistol, 2 or 3 for your rifle, and then X number of rounds. And that's it. And the reason why is, like Blake said, if you can't operate from a simple platform that's strapped to your hips where you have, optimal movement because your arms hang low. So it's faster for you to grab something on your way up than it is to come all the way up, grab something, come up, and then back down.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, just coming up, out, and into your gun or something like that, you can't do it from a chest rig. So don't look at like your firearms training. Don't look at it as like, this is my end goal. Look at your building blocks, man. Like, I have no longer, I stopped trying to chase GM. I can shoot GM classifiers all day when it's just me and I have time to practice. The problem is I can't shoot like a GM on every single course of fire I come across. I can't sit there and run all my stages like a GM should be able to run. So I quit chasing GM. I was like, where I'm at now, I will build off of, and I'm going to enjoy the journey. Will my gear change? Probably not a whole lot. I found what works for me, and unless something super revolutionary comes out, like we can use magnets on our holsters, this is probably never, ever going to change other than maybe getting another magnet on it.
Oh, I've seen a couple boys get toasted by that magnet, though.
No,
Makes me so happy.
So my magnet, the only reason I have a magnet on here is for retention. That's where my first magazine that goes in my gun goes, and that's where the last magazine that comes out of my gun goes. This I don't actually load off of. I actually load off my mag pouches, so I'm not a pleb. I also don't shoot up.
A couple of our boys have taken off sprinting with them, and they got the big MBX mags, and it's too much.
Yep.
Gone.
Bye, Felicia. There's your $140.
Yep.
160 with all the ammo they hold.
You know who we got to get on one of these too? Noah. Get that little whipper snapper.
He's 18 now, so yeah, we could. Not trying to say anything, but like, you should wear tighter shorts, man. I am 17. Oh, okay.
Fair,
What's our next
though,
question?
To be fair, we didn't let anybody roast that kid but us.
Well, that's because he was trying and he was doing it the right way. So
yeah.
What's our next question?
What we got, Joshy? Nah, almost died for your sins.
So, as a part of your courses, do you provide any resources or guidance for obtaining concealed carry permits or other certifications?
Yeah, most shooters aren't going to come to you for other certifications. They only want to be able to carry a handgun concealed, and in Kansas, you can do it without the concealed carry permit. So when they do show up to the classes, we try to introduce a shot timer and a little bit of stress to give them a very gentle reality check. Because most people will be like, oh, I went out and I bought a gun. I am now the solution to the problem. No, you are a liability.
Yeah.
Because if 70% of your rounds don't hit what you're aiming at, that is completely unacceptable.
Yeah. On my end, I'm actually teaching the North Dakota concealed carry class at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So
There you go.
I do a lot of private classes and group classes. I also do the North Dakota concealed carry class. We also have universal constitutional carry, but it's that reciprocity that people usually want with other states.
Yeah.
Same thing. I try to run through. We don't get a lot of time to shoot in that class, and I really wish they'd take some of the government bullshit out of the class and give us more range time in it. But it's an Attorney General's office written class, and it's on a script. But I try to tell them, like, the shooting course is not easy, it's not hard at all. It's a pass or fail event. You get 3 attempts, which I still think is too many. But I try to impress on them before we go into the range. If you are struggling to pass this course, I highly, highly encourage you to seek some training, because if you're worried about not passing this basic qualification, then you're not ready to be carrying a firearm in the community. And that's some guys don't want to hear that.
Hard to swallow pill.
Yeah.
Do dry fires. Get yourself some reduced size targets. Do dry fires in your house. It's
Why do those
easy.
look so nice? I cut mine
I
out
know.
of cardboard.
Oh, these came from the Ben Stoker shop. I won them at Kansas State.
Okay. I'm gonna buy them.
Yeah. So do dry fires. Reduced size targets are really nice. Learn. You can do mechanics moving and sight picture. Put them up over your house. Have your significant other, have your kids put them random places, and then be like, okay, now I have to, you can, if you really want to get funky with it, have your kids put targets just in random places, and you've got to clear your house for defensive practice. Yeah. Okay. Or just set them up yourself in like a competition style course where you have to move from point A to point B. You have to do X number of shots, and you have to throw a reload in there somewhere. Dry fires are free. You can make more progress doing dry fires in a month than you can make in the gym in a month being on steroids.
Yeah. And if you watch, Ben Stager has some really good dry fire talks and setup. And I like his stuff because it's really simple. He doesn't have a crazy setup for dry fire. It's just some shit taped to his wall, and that guy's world class. And so that buddy of mine, that there's 3 owners of Frontier Training here in our little business. I think, what did I say? I'm at about 13,000 rounds for pistol this year. The buddy of mine that beats all of our asses shoots. I bet he's at maybe 4,000 rounds this year. But that dude dry fires every day, 7 days a week.
Quality of repetition.
Yep.
Quality of repetition.
So I had a question for home defense. Do you think you should clear your house or have a strong point?
Do you have kids?
No.
Strong point.
I do.
If you don't have, I don't have kids. I'm on a strong point. If you try to make it down my basement where my guns are, you're getting shot. I will strong point in my bedroom, butt ass naked, with my left hand on my gun, aiming down the hallway, and say, "Get out of my house! I have a gun." You advance down that. My right hand's probably on a flashlight or holding my cock. I don't know. If you come down my hallway, it's because you have ill intent. If you come down my hallway, it's because you have ill intent. If you come down my hallway, my life is now in danger, and I will use force to protect myself. Do not come down my hallway. You have the opportunity. You can steal my microwave. You can steal my stove, all the dishes you want. You can steal my freaking anything in my kitchen or my living room. If I tell you to get out of my house and you don't, you come down my hallway, you're going to go meet Jesus, and not in a good way. And then your family's probably going to sue me because, oh, my little Johnny didn't do nothing wrong ever. Well, then why was he in my house at 3 a.m.? My door is locked, not to keep people out. My door is locked to give me enough time to get to a firearm from a dead sleep. My door is locked for everyone else's protection.
Yeah. For those of you guys that have the opportunity, kicking a door down is not hard.
If you if you put in 3-inch deck screws. Fucking, what are you talking about?
Depends on what the door frame's made of.
That's something else we can get into. Mine is reinforced 3 2x4s on each stud. So my house was also built in 1993. So my 2x4s are actual 2x4s, and my 2x6s are 2x6s. So I got some thick boy lumber here. But here's the deals: if you have to understand it, in obviously every situation is fluid, every situation is different. If you have kids, get to a point where you can protect your kids. Stay there. Because defending a corner is easier than trying to sweep a house by yourself. CQB is inherently dangerous. At no point in Iraq or Kosovo did we ever enter and clear a room that we were taking contact from that we did not throw in a force multiplier, i.e. flashbang or frag grenade first. All this shit you see on Instagram where guys are doing the super pie shit, if you're taking contact from that room and you're not throwing in a force multiplier, you're fucking wrong. you're lying. You're just looking cool for social media, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I made
The
that,
only-
and I made that point. I made that point when I went to that CQB class, and the guy's like, "Yep." The instructor was like, "You're absolutely right. If you're trying to do this stuff, like in a high kinetic situation, and you're not throwing in force multipliers, you're gonna die."
Yeah. The only other example would be like, I don't know, if you had, I don't know, night vision and they didn't, and that's a really weird wet dream fantasy that none of us are
Yep.
going to get lucky enough to happen. So,
And
but
they don't
you
have any
to
power.
have some kind of advantage.
Yep.
So that
Frag
was
grenades
another
are
one.
great.
Single man CQB used to be like a
I
big
bet.
topic. What was that, like 2 years ago? Was like all
Yeah.
the single man CQB. So single man CQB to me is a really cool name for suicide, because if you ask most of the guys that did any of that stuff, how many times did you go into a room and hit all those corners alone? Zero. You can't do it. You're taking a 50-50 gamble every time you go through a door.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, frag grenades do a great job of force multiplying because they clear the room before you even have to go in there.
Yeah, that might be a little aggressive for the homestead. So strong point.
That's why I got strong doors, right?
So on that note, all of my doors, there you go, Facebook action badge. Yeah. So all of my doors, the first thing I did when I moved in here is I took out all the little 1/2-inch screws that use on all the hinges. So every external door of my house is held up by at least 4 times 3 is 12. So at least 14 3-inch deck screws.
We can all agree that 3 inches is definitely above average.
Oh,
Mhm.
it's big. It's big.
Yeah.
So the whole concept behind that is to ensure that your screws go through the entirety of your supporting your weight supporting studs, simply to buy you enough time to get to something you can protect yourself. The only way you're actually going to keep someone out of your house is if you got bars on the windows, you got steel vault doors, that they have to physically burn or blow through with some sort of incendiary device or explosive device. That's the only way you're going to keep somebody out of your house. Like Blake said, it's not hard to kick doors open, but if you're smart about it, you can
It'll
make
take
it
a little
much
longer.
more. It'll make it much more difficult. You got kids, man. Like if you're sitting there not giving yourself every single advantage, you're doing it wrong. Because buying 3-inch deck screws is going to cost you $25 and an hour of your day, and you can do it on every door in your house. You do it on your kids' doors to help reinforce them. Be like, hey, lock your door. It's going to make it a little harder to get into. You do it on your master bathroom. You do it on your bedroom. I recommend it for at least every exterior door in your house. And then something else on top of that, get the 3M security film. Clean your windows real good. Put it on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it very hard for windows to shatter at that point.
And then especially if it's a place that you live, I'm not a place that you own, not a place that you rent. The material that your doors are made out of, exterior doors, especially on older places or the landlord special places, are shit. You could put a hand through them most of the time. Interior doors kind of suck unless you've done it yourself anyway. But your exterior door and your exterior door frame should be made of something solid, good solid 2x4s or steel. And then the door, not something filled with cardboard and made out of plywood.
Yep.
Your wife's calling you out over here saying that you guys haven't even done 3M.
Huh?
Your wife's calling you out over here.
Where's your 3M film, Eric?
Yeah, no, right. Haven't done 3M yet. Working on it, man. One project at a time. I was out framing her rabbit barn today, trying to finish that up before it gets cold, so the rabbits don't freeze to death.
Hey, but you haven't done the 3M yet.
Stop talking shit.
Yeah, but you might have been doing the rabbits, but you haven't done the 3M yet.
Yeah, I know, man. She's a fucking firecracker.
Hi, Mrs. Canyons.
All right, next question.
Have you seen the new Army qualification tables?
Don't know, don't care. They probably still suck.
I heard
It's
the
more
Marine
about
Corps actually went to
shooting.
Hit Factor a couple months ago, which is cool.
They probably still suck.
Yeah, it probably still sucks, but it's better than the old stuff.
They probably still suck.
Do you so do you offer Do you offer personalized one-on-one training or only group classes?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Both.
To both.
Both is good.
Yeah, both is good.
What do you guys do the most of? The one-on-one or the group?
It's pretty mixed.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I probably get more one-on-ones. We do quite a bit of groups, but especially the last, I don't know, 2 years, I have done a lot of one-on-ones, and I think that is just due to the state of things. Just leave that right there. But there's a lot of people, and I also think it's because of things like podcasts like this and social media. People kind of see social media is good and bad, but people kind of see what somebody that's actually trained is capable of, and they're like, oh,
Yeah. That's what happened when we went to H's. I was like, oh shit.
Mhm.
That's literally, I was like, oh shit.
So one of the guys one of the guys from
Fuck.
Tag that I work with is like that. That dude's just a dangerous dude. H is kind of the same. H is a different level to measure yourself to.
Don't
Like,
try.
he's just dangerous.
Stay out of my swamp. Don't go in H's swamp. You will not make it out, dude. That guy's got his swamp so booby trapped.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
He is literally. So Luke says, I can confirm the new Army rifle qual still sucks. Luke's in the National Guard. He's my fellow instructor at the Minuteman firearms training. So he's a left-eye dominant wacko that just happened to make master at one IDPA major. Fuck you, Luke, respectfully. It was so casual too. It wasn't like he was even trying. I can tell you how good he did though. So during the optics match, he took 8th overall and 1st in expert carry optics. For instance, the guy that took 2nd in expert carry optics took 15th overall. I had a really bad stage. Otherwise, I would have been right there with him. I would have been in 13th place.
Oh, dude, I just took one.
I had a ass stage that killed me.
I just took one a couple weeks ago where I should have been 4th place, with the 1st place being that national champ. I took a bunch of there was a shooting box I didn't see, took it from a weird angle, and I took 6 procedurals.
Oh no!
Dropped me from 4th to 8th.
Oh no!
And my buddy's keeping score, and he gets to the back, and he's got a big smile on his face, and he's doing this. I'm like, what?
Oh,
and he's so happy because he just beat my ass now, and he knows it.
Dude, that sucks when you beat your when you lose it yourself. So
You're like,
I dropped 20 points on a stage because I shot it initially in like 13 something seconds, and it was a good time. I was like 1 second behind the fastest time that day. I had a great run, but the RO bumped into me, and so he's like, "Hey, would you like a reshoot? Because that's something if the RO yeah." And my dumbass said yes. I went up to the line without checking my magazines. I had 6 rounds that I had banged out of a magazine in one of my ammo carriers. And the worst part was I felt it because I have Kydex mag carriers. I jammed it in there. It felt funny, and I just kind of ignored it, which is something I tell my students to not do. So not lit, dude. I was so mad. So I get there, I'm fucking smoking it. I bump in there, fire 2 rounds, run out of ammo. No more magazines. Dead man's gun. Lose 20 points because I have 2 targets left that I did not shoot at. So I get 4 mics, which cost me 20 fucking points. And the worst part was Brandon was here from Tennessee. He was watching. My wife was there. There were a bunch of people there. Guy that follows me on TikTok was there. I was so fucking mad at myself. Like I was mad at myself. I turned after I holstered, empty, made clear, all that stuff, holster my gun. I turned and walked off. I threw my ear pro on the ground. I threw my hat on the ground, threw my eye pro on the ground, and I just walked off. I was so embarrassed. I was so mad at myself. I'd never done that before. I never shorted myself in a magazine. I've always prided myself, check my gear, check my equipment. But like the adrenaline was pumping, and I just did the dumb and didn't practice what I preach.
Side
and it
note,
came back,
boys,
it bit me in the
we
ass.
don't put empty magazines back in belts.
You can, in this regard, if you have a dump pouch, you can put them in a dump pouch.
Yeah,
or
but not in your pouches.
Not if you if you train enough. So all of my mag carriers I index with my pointer finger. So anytime I load, my mags are always rounds are always pointed towards my crotch. So
Yeah.
anytime I index a magazine, my pointer finger being on it is going to indicate there's rounds in it. If it's empty, I put it in backwards. So if I grab it, it comes out backwards. Or if I have to thumb index it, I know it's wrong.
Yeah.
And I have trained myself enough. I have done this a couple of times where I had an empty mag here that I reached to grab. I came up as soon as I felt it. I was like right here, dumped it, reached back for another one, grabbed one that was actually loaded, and finished my drill in the time allotted. So there is a capability to push yourself from a mechanical standpoint, just because I've experienced it, to really again, like I said earlier, know your gear, know yourself. So if you train to the point, it's like, well, so like I know a lot of people that will thumb index rifle mags, but will pointer index pistol mags. I index rifle mags the exact same way I index pistol mags. Comes out, finger index, goes in rifle, thumb comes up, hits my bolt release if I need to.
I do it all my rifle mags.
Yeah, some do, some don't. I do it all the same though, because if I do something the same, I don't have to worry about changing anything ever.
Yeah.
Because then if I'm grabbing a rifle mag, right, and I index it and it's backwards, then I don't have rounds in that magazine, or I may not have enough rounds to finish what I need. So that little cue right there, if I'm trying to jam this in there and it's not fitting because I've ignored it and I'm not seeing the fact that there's an orange follower there, or that rounds are pointed at me, and it's literally bananaed out the back way, oh shit, that's the wrong mag. And that can save you time and energy when you're trying to do what you got to do with a gun.
Yep. And on another note, because I've done that same kind of shit, mistakes wise, I mean, putting empty mags in or putting a half loaded mag in, or just malfunctions. I mean, I've got some great, like, I don't edit out like when I mess stuff up. If you look at one of my last shooting videos, it's me and a buddy not seating a mag all the way because we're going too fast and losing the mag when we drive out. Right? Which, I mean, I ripped out a nasty second reload on that, but still screwed me. But for everybody training, if you're running through a drill or if you're running through a stage and you're new to competition and that kind of stuff happens to you, just keep working through it. Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Don't just quit.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that a lot at H's. I'd go to put the mag in on my AR, and I'd go and just falls out.
So Henry actually has my pistol training program. I don't know if he's using it or not, but I gave it to him as a resource because he actually came down here last April because he wanted to see how I teach. He's like, dude, this is fucking mind blowing. I was like, well, it's kind of what happens when you have autism. You have 2 years to work on something, and you have tier 1 guys sit there and pick it apart for you.
Yeah. Can't believe that. If you guys, you will have to get Henry on here. Henry's not a big fan of planes, so if he comes to see anybody, he's driving.
He drove 19 hours. 19 hours to see me, to hang out for a weekend. Yeah, dude's fucking crazy.
Yeah, we had him on here last year.
Winter survival class up here this winter.
Yeah.
Cold weather survival in -40.
Yeah, we had him on before we went training in March this year, and then we had him on last year. He was actually one of our first guests.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, H is a great dude, man. I got nothing bad to say about the guy. Like he's come so far in life. I can still outshoot him though, and he'll never catch me. He beat me when it comes to guerrilla warfare, but just from pure shooting, he'll never catch me. I'm too dedicated.
And Magnum dong.
Yeah. He'll never, like, that's one thing where, like, I run into a lot of guys who are like, oh, I'm going to train and I'll be as good as you someday. I was like, you'll never catch me. There's a point of obsession and perfection that I want to have. I want to be a GM someday. I want to be a nationally winning GM someday. I have this goal and I want to get there. And there's a lot of guys here locally that I shoot with that I've caught up to and surpassed, and they'll never catch me ever again. Until I, retire. It's like with Jerry Mitchell. Like the only reason I was able to catch him is because he's getting old.
Yeah,
like that's
always gets you.
If I told you my FUD theory,
send it.
We're all going to be FUD someday when you get older.
Oh no!
You're gonna get old
Oh,
enough or
man.
broke enough that you're gonna stop training, and then
Back in
about
my day,
10
we used
10,
hit
15
factor.
years after,
Yeah, oh boy.
you damn
Back in
kids
my
and
day,
your rail guns.
we didn't have none of these fancy self-propelled 22 caliber magnetic slungs. We had to use gunpowder and primers. We had to shoot somebody at least 5 times. You shoot them once and take half their body apart. Yeah, probably. You know, when it does come. So that being said, relevancy is not hard. If you want to stay relevant as you get older in the firearms industry, take classes with younger shooters. Just humble yourself, man. Just humble yourself and train with better people. It's not hard. You go to practicescore.com, just look up shooters, look at their scores. Oh, is this guy a GM? Is this guy a master? Okay. Do they have a social media account? Are they local to me? It's not that hard to find masters and GMs that are willing to take a few minutes out of their weekend to teach you how to shoot. These guys absolutely, I tell you right now, competitive shooters love it when you ask questions. Again, because we're retarded, you can't be in the industry and not have autism for it. It's like you didn't get the autism for trains. You got the autism for things that fire very, very, for things that go really fast, little bullets that go really fast. You ask them for training, they will give you a reasonable price. Except for Tom Castro, but he's worth the $300 a day, in my opinion. Like
even just like if you go to a match and ask them some questions, like for most of us, even like I'm not saying that we're those levels of shooters, but we're half decent, better than most people. Some days. But like for most of us, it's exciting to see new faces and people that are new. They're getting to experience a whole bunch of stuff for the first time. That's awesome for them. And we get some of that, but you don't get to do all that the first time again.
Yeah.
So it's exciting for me to see new people and watch them go from fumbling around to about 6 months later, burning shit down. It's awesome.
Luke said he's already a FUD. He's basically already a FUD. He carries a steel 1911 right. He carries a staccato. That's what he's talking about.
Tell him if you're watching, I'm going to carry a Smith & Wesson Model 15 revolver tomorrow.
Oh boy. I do have a running deal for anybody that wants to shoot a competition that's never shot a competition before. If you want to come out here, hang out for the weekend, and you want to come shoot a match with me, whether it's a level 1 IDPA or USPSA, or even if you want to meet me in Wichita, shoot a PCSL match. If I can do it, I will pay your match fee. I will provide the ammo and let you use whatever guns I have, whatever gear I have. So that way you get a good experience at a first match with some good equipment. And it's a one-time deal. Once you use it, it's not something like, oh, I'm going to come have this guy let me shoot a dozen matches a year. I can't afford it, but I can't afford.
Does that count for me?
Does not know, Blake. No, fuck off.
I think that's for us.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Blake, it's only because you're Mexican, okay?
Oh
man, why you gotta be like that, home? No, so the idea is to give people that want to learn about just purely performance shooting. You want to learn what that's like. It gives you an environment to where you're not going to lose anything, even if you don't do it anymore. You're like, all right, this is cool, but this isn't for me. Competition is not for everybody. Okay. I'm an overly competitive person. I'm in the middle. I'm the 5th of 8 kids. I have this overwhelming need to outperform my older siblings that all have higher levels of education than I do. And I mean, when it comes to
your education's guns.
Yeah, man.
Well,
I probably, yeah.
And you can use competition shooting as a big training platform too. Maybe your goal isn't to be M or GM someday, but you're most C-class shooters are out shooting any professional that carries a gun 10 times out of 10.
I just want to defend my family. That's my biggest thing. I want to be able to. I have 2 boys and a wife, so that my biggest thing is I'm just trying to protect them as well as I can.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're interested in it, I would highly encourage you just to check out some local competition stuff and just it has nothing to do with the competition if that's not something you're interested in, but the skill that you can build from that is leaps and bounds better than most of the normal classroom stuff because it's stress under time. It's a simulated stress. It's not anywhere near what you're going to be in a life or death situation, but it's going to give you some simulated stress. It's going to put you on the clock. It's going to make you run that equipment harder than you would ever do outside of, doing a competition, it's good for you. And then you'll get to do more practical shooting type. Like I used to do a lot of what I refer to as ego shooting, right? Like I'm sure Eric can do it. How many of us can shoot like a quarter sized group at 10 yards and out if I take a lot of time with a pistol?
It's not hard.
Right?
Hard.
I know I can do that already, but I used to do it all the time because people it was probably when I was in my early to mid 20s, people would, ooh, wow. Like I'd do it because it made me feel good, right? But I was getting absolutely nothing out of those reps. I'm doing things that I don't gain anything from. So if you're not feeling a little uncomfy when you're out doing some training stuff and you're trying to get better, you're not getting better.
Dog, I can't find Maryland on a U.S. map. I'm retarded.
It's right above Virginia.
It's right
Look
above
east.
Virginia, right
Okay.
below Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's the one
Okay.
shaped like a gun.
It's the one shaped like a gun.
Oh, that makes it so much easier. Okay, there we go. Maryland, south of Virginia.
It's north of Virginia.
No,
yeah.
north.
Okay, north. Dude,
It's south of Pennsylvania. North of Virginia, south of Pennsylvania.
that's wild, man. Considering I was in Pennsylvania. You guys
So
are sandwiched right there. Okay, cool.
So what ammo do y'all shoot for a competition?
Bootleg bullets, 124 grain subsonic, clocks in at around 1135 FPS.
Less scientific answer. Whatever is cheap and I can get thousands of rounds of at a time, and then I mix it together in a big bucket. We're talking multiple grains. If I'm taking something a little more seriously, I run. One of my buddies loads some of us some good stuff up. It's 115s, a little bit lighter loaded, but nothing crazy. Or Republic Range ammo from Target Sports. It's like their brand. I think it's Hungarian ammunition, but I've run 10,000 rounds of it, no issues, and I've had a lot more issues with MagTech and Blazer than I have with their ammo.
So there are 5 clubs within an hour of Martinsburg, Virginia. Or yeah, that's it. That you guys, if you want to shoot competition, just go to practicescore.com, find your location. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of clubs there. Winchester, Friedrich, Hagerstown, Bedford. There's a lot of clubs out there on the East Coast, a lot of IDPA clubs. And it's like drive an hour. Like this is all stuff just northwest of Washington, D.C. So, I mean, there's stuff to the south. You just jump on there, drag your cursor to your nearest town, and you don't even have to go shoot a match to learn. Just go talk to people, man. Ask questions. Just say, hey, I've never shot a competition before. I got questions. They ask. They do not. If someone's not sitting there doing a stage plan and they're just sitting there watching somebody else shoot, ask them.
What's a stage plan?
A stage plan is what good shooters use to get better. Like
I like to go full send.
Where'd you find that off of?
Practicescore.com.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Yeah, go to.
That's also, if you type either of our names in there, you'll be able to go back and look at all the matches we've ever shot. That's what he was saying earlier. It's also a good place to vet guys out.
Yep. If you go to Practice Score, go to shooters, you'll see my smiling mugs on there, and then you can see my most recent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My most recent six matches. That's all they let you. That's all they let you shoot show. But I've shot a total of 58 matches in the past 2 years.
Yeah. If you can do organizations too, like if you pull up Frontier Group organizations, I think you can get the last 15 of our matches on there.
Let me look for scores here. Frontier Group.
So
Frontier Training Group Hit Factor. Oh boy, updated 12 days ago.
what do y'all think the best home defense weapon is?
Do you live in a communist state?
Of course.
Yep.
We're here in Maryland.
If you're in a communist state, a shotgun. If you're not, a handgun.
Mm.
And the reason I say this is because you're going to get in less trouble using a shotgun to protect yourself in a communist state than you will a handgun. You can go out and buy yourself the premium cream of the cop combat shotgun, all decked out, lights, lasers, all that shit, and you're not going to get anywhere near as trouble if you smoke someone with a shotgun as you do with a handgun in a commie state.
Which is
All you need is a
ridiculous
double barrel
because
shotgun.
sorry.
So you
all
saying
need-
just don't
all
go
you need
outside and shoot it in the air?
Oh yeah. As long as it's got an 18.5-inch barrel on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you need is a double barrel shotgun, a corn jar, or
Fire 2 blasts off the porch.
Scare
The
everybody
Joe
off.
Biden quote. Sir, are you recommending misdemeanor discharge of a firearm in a city?
Never.
He doesn't even know.
That's why silencers are awesome, because then you don't wake up your neighbors. That's just being considerate.
Yeah. When we do night vision shoots, it's out in the county, but there's still houses fairly close. We have a suppressed rule now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, it's just, especially in the summer when it doesn't get dark till late, we might be out there till 2 a.m. and the people that let us shoot out there are cool, and we don't need to piss off their neighbors any more than we already do.
So Luke reloads his 9mm. He does 124 grain at 135 power factor. So that means he's getting like 12. He's getting around 12, 20 out the muzzle for 135 power factor. So that's pretty quick.
I just like to, with my custom loads for the compensated guns, I just like to get as close to serious business as I can without blowing the gun apart.
I just went on that practicescore.com and Dimitri and Rob, our range that we go to actually has a match October 31st.
There you go. IDPA, PCSL.
Yeah, the range
Gumtree has a match.
Yeah, Gumtree has a match October 31st.
They don't even let you draw from a holster there.
At matches,
it's what is private open? ASI. I'm trying to find out.
What's the name of the match? What's the name of the match?
It just says private match. So, but it has 70 total upcoming matches.
What's the name? It just says private match. So, like when you search matches, what's that's closest to you? What does that first one say underneath the map?
Here I can screen share and I'll show you.
Yeah, that'd be great, because then I can give you a better idea of what it is.
Yeah, that website isn't loading on my end for some fucking reason.
So I had an issue with that too. I Googled it, and then the link that Google gave me worked.
Private match inside.
So this is the range that we go to right here.
Gumtree Club. All right, Gumtree Club of Maryland. Gumtree. Gumtree.
Keep scrolling down.
Club.
Practice score.
Keep going.
Not seeing it.
Trying to.
Oh, it's because it's PRACTIS.
I do not know what ASI is. It's not, so I'm not familiar with ASI, so I don't know if that's like an action shoot invitational. It's probably an action shoot of some sort, but so that is like a style of competition that's just not sanctioned under like a major organization. Still a good place to go learn though.
Yeah. For the most part too, we run outlaw matches anyway. We run PCSL rules, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad stuff.
Yeah, scroll down there in that first match.
Oh,
click on that.
Right here.
Click. Yeah, click on that.
Yeah, it's not letting me.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Okay, go to matches. Yeah, click that, and then scroll down. All right, you got your location set. AGC Falling. So keep scrolling down. AGC Falling Steel, November 19th. Littleton Open Steel. Those are majors. AAFG Wranglers Cowboy Action Match. That's Cowboy Action. You guys probably don't want to shoot that. Keep scrolling down. November 19th. Open Arms. All right, so that one. So on October 20th, that ACG IDPA defensive pistol match. That's a good one to go to. To start out, IDPA is very user-friendly. It has this lowest barrier of entry. You need a mag carrier, or you need 2 mag carriers and a holster, and then you need to be able to conceal all 3. So normally what I do is I just wear a big boating shirt over the top, and that's it. It's a little bit... IDPA is a little fuddy. Everything has to be done from concealment, but I haven't had a bad experience at an IDPA match yet. So it's a good place to start, again, because the barrier to entry is very, very low. And you're going to want to get an account so you can sign up for matches and stuff.
Okay.
So, because the guys there are going to answer all your questions. They're going to love having you out there. Marysville, Maryland, AGCIDPA. So I'm logged in already, so I can give you some more details. AGCIDPA.
All right.
AGCIDPA. All right, there we go. Found it. October 20. 6 stages. You run 3 twice, 8 to 10 shooters per squad, around 150 rounds. $20 is how much it's going to cost you to shoot that match. Yeah, that's very standard. It's a cold range, buddy check before holstering. Yeah, so don't show up with loaded guns. Unload them in your car. Don't shoot yourself, obviously. Otherwise, you can get DQ'd if you show up with a loaded gun. They'll disqualify you and kick you out of the match. Yeah. Go to your bay for setup. Your safety officer is responsible for base setup. You must stay to help to. So the big thing is for like sportsmanship is just to stay there and help tear down at the end. And that's just taking the targets down, putting them in whatever storage area you need. Looks like they're shooting custom defensive pistol, stock service pistol, enhanced service pistol, compact carry pistol, and carry optics. So it looks like I am IDPA SO. No, yes, I'm an IDPA SO, and I can work the match. Gotcha. That's pretty cool. So beginner, new to IDPA. So yeah, they have a little box there. You can say, yes, I'm brand new, never shot a match before. A lot of clubs will have like a shooter orientation, like to give you a basic rundown on the rules, and you get to shoot a little bit in the morning before the match.
Yeah.
So if that's something you guys want to do, get signed up now. Email the match director. Say, hey, we know a guy out here. He told us to go shoot a match, just to kind of learn how it is. We're brand new shooters, and you probably won't have a bad experience. You can shoot at least 3 matches before you have to get an IDPA membership, and I think that costs $40 a year or something like that. So that's something you want to keep doing. You can, but IDPA is all about defensive shooting. You guys were asking about scenarios. IDPA is all scenario based. They'll say, "Hey, you get home from
that's
work."
what we've been looking for.
Yeah, that IDPA would be your jam, because like one of the scenarios we had at last major is you're just getting home from work and you observe people breaking in your house. You hear your daughter scream, defend yourself. So you have to go through there and you have to essentially kind of fight your way through this stage like it's your house, and you have to defeat all the threats. And the way the SO will you have to engage everything from cover. There's something called tactical priority. So if you go around a corner, you have to shoot outside in. So it's like called slicing the pie. So the first target you see, you have to shoot at. If there's targets in the open and they will tell you, then you shoot near targets to farthest targets. So I just went through the IDPA SO course. I have a little better knowledge on the rules, which is kind of cool.
I think I actually know where that actually is being held.
Yeah, it's at the
Marysville.
It's Marysville.
Yeah, it's at Marysville. It's it doesn't say what Associates Gun Club is what it is.
I actually used to be a member there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Associated Gun Club of Baltimore.
Yeah, I used to be a member there.
So the nice part about IDPA too is most of their divisions are capped at either 8 or 10 rounds per magazine, but their scenarios are capped at 18 rounds per stage. So if you're in a commie state like Maryland, you can still go there and with your 10-round mag limit, and you can still go there and shoot a match and still not be at a major disadvantage.
Well, here you can have higher capacity mags. You just can't buy them here.
Yeah. I was actually you could own like 15-round mags for Glock, like a 15-round mag. If you were to buy a Glock here or like any pistol with a 15-round mag.
You just got to drive to like Virginia or something.
Yeah, PA.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of the places will actually ship your mags out of state. So like if you have a family member in Pennsylvania or Virginia or whatever, they'll ship them there.
Yeah.
And then you can get them back, or you could just take the 10-round, that they give you. Yeah, but you could own higher capacity. You just can't buy them here.
Yeah. IDPA, I think IDPA sticks with that 10-round mag cap for most of their divisions, specifically because there's a lot of it on the East and West Coast. So, and again, their scenarios are capped at 18 rounds. Stock service pistol is 15 per mag. But that's the only division besides pistol caliber carbine, and this match doesn't have PCC. So,
well, shit, we got some training, fellas.
Yeah, and it $20, 150 rounds. You'll learn how to do competition, and you'll learn, you'll learn more. You'll learn a little bit about, fluid tactics, like getting to a point, shooting targets, as you see them, as you're probably in the corner. They have stop sticks and everything too. So that way, you can't move X number. So IDPA used to not have any stop sticks. And then it was all like, it was like, hey, how much exposure are you having to that target? And if a safety officer or chief safety officer didn't like you, they would dock you points saying, "Oh, you overexposed," even if you weren't. Mm-hmm. So they had to put in stop sticks to get rid of all the arguing. But it's a good place to start. If you want to like really just dive into the performance stuff, shoot PCSL or shoot USPSA.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's actually tomorrow.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I'll say that match is actually tomorrow. I just realized.
Yeah, there's got to be some other ones that give us a little more time.
Yeah.
They have most clubs have a match every month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We at least once a month. We do 2 matches a month.
My local club does 1 match every weekend. So IDPA, USPSA, multi-gun. There's another range. There's a little indoor range that does Glock matches every 3 months, once a month, and do action shoots every Thursday night. So it's just, once you get to know the competitive crowd, they'll be like, oh yeah, we're doing this little fun action match here on like a Tuesday night. And it's like, oh, it starts at 8, it goes till 10. I can go put in a few rounds, before work the next day, kind of thing. Because I work 40 hours a week, guys. I'm not going to sit here and I wish I could sit here and be like, oh yeah, all I do is gun stuff. No, I have a job. I work 40 hours a week, and gun stuff I do in my spare time, so on weekends and evenings.
Yeah, same. I do 60, 70 hours a week sometimes between the jobs, and yeah, you just got to get it in when you get it in.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm hoping for that no tax on overtime.
Yeah,
that's what
I've been pulling. I've been pulling 16-hour days every day this week. 14 to 16-hour days every day this week. So I'm burnt. Yeah,
man. Don't be one of those people. Don't be one of those people though that's going to be like, I don't have time to go shoot a match, because that is the biggest excuse you will hear.
I work 75 hours a day.
So, yeah,
soft hands, brother.
Yeah, I've skipped weddings, I've skipped family events to go shoot matches, to go train. Like, where are your priorities at, right?
I'd like to reiterate, we're not life coaches.
We're not life coaches. We teach people how to shoot. We sacrifice time and energy. I am way behind on house chores this year, because I took this summer to travel a lot and shoot a lot of major matches out of state that I haven't done before. And those results were pretty good. I took 13th overall at Iowa State, first in marksman carry optics. I took first in CDP marksman, which is 1911s, ironically enough. Blake, judge me all you want. But me and my buddy bullied each other into shooting 1911s at Missouri State this year. So we did, and I took third in the division, which is I'm pretty happy with. So I took second at the Area 3 Ruger Steel Championship this year. So the work and the travel has paid off. So
yeah.
Took this year to travel.
Commendable.
You guys got one more question, then I bet it's midnight here. I got to get to bed. I got to teach that class.
What a loser.
It's getting late. What is
about excuses?
Yeah, there it is. I'm gonna teach class. Bro, here's something. Hey Blake, here's a challenge for you. I have a challenge for you. I want you, before you shoot a match this year, I want you to shoot in essentially at deficit, and by that you sleep for 4 hours, and that's it, and you don't hydrate. You don't hydrate at all the day prior, like at all. 24 hours, no water prior to, nothing, no liquid. Have your caffeine in the morning, help you wake up.
So like most weekends.
Yeah. So shoot. So on 4 hours, but then I want you to push yourself.
Yeah.
I did. Now, so the one match I did that I'm really proud of was last November. And I slept for 4 hours. I was super duper sick when I woke up. I ended up puking right when I got to the range. It was super cold and rainy out, and I still think I think I took third overall. And I was really, or second.
Days are the days where you just lock.
Well, here's the deal. It wasn't about being locked in. I wasn't sick on purpose. I only slept for 4 hours on purpose. I just happened to wake up sick. But I was like, I wanted to see if all the talking I had done about quality repetition if it could still apply with lack of sleep, with lack of hydration, with lack of the stuff your body needs to perform at a fairly high level. And I was able to, because a lot of like serious competitors out there be like, oh, you need to hydrate. Your vision's the first thing to go, and you won't notice. If it goes, it goes. Keep shooting. Quit bitching.
Yeah. Especially for you guys that are more defensive focused. For us here in the winter, right? Guys don't want to go out and shoot outside in the winter. Same thing, because it sucks. Well, guess what? Winter's 4 or 5 months out of the year here. So you better get your ass outside and train drawing out of your coat.
Yep. So Luke says, before we leave tonight, so Luke is a big fan of John McClane. So he said, your scenario, you, John McClane, end up at a Christmas party at Nagatami Plaza. Hans Gruber decides to ruin the party by taking everyone hostage. Defend yourself. Oh my gosh. You know what's worse? What's really bad about that, Luke, is I could actually make that an IDPA stage. I could build that. So
you got to do the ho ho ho. Now I have
yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. All right.
You must yell yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, before engaging target.
Yep. You actually can't. So in IDPA, you actually cannot be penalized for a non-shooting action, so you don't have to do that. Because like there will be stages where they'll be like, hey, you have to start out by holding this gas can before you shoot the stage, and there will be guys that'll game it and they'll just leave the gas can on the ground, so they don't have to worry about like drawing or whatever else. And that's like, it's kind of a violation of the purity of the sport. Like if the scenario calls for it, just do it. Don't sit there and try to game it. Like, because I know there were guys there that were like, I'm not going to get penalized for this. I'm just going to drop it before the timer goes off. I don't care. Like, don't do that. Don't be one of those guys who's like, oh, I'm not going to get penalized for this, so I'm not going to do it. Like, they've had scenarios where like, hey, you have to flip the table over and shoot from cover. That's a non-shooting action, so you can't be penalized for it. So a lot of guys, they'll just leave it and just shoot from behind the table.
Yeah.
Without flipping it over.
On that same note, when we're talking about gaming stuff, listen when they explain. They'll give you what's called a stage briefing. They'll tell you, especially in USPSA and PCSL, you get to engage, like there might be a starting position and shooting boxes, but you get to engage the targets in whatever order you see fit most of the time, right? Listen very carefully to the instructions, because sometimes what they don't say is something that you could do that would make the stage go a lot faster for you, right?
Yep.
So just because they didn't say you couldn't or could do it doesn't mean you can't do it. If they specifically say you can't, but they'll leave little open-ended shit in there. And I love my buddy Matt and I write the stages together, and I love finding those in his stages because he gets a little shitty. He was like, well, you didn't say I couldn't do it. You said I couldn't shoot through this window right here, so I shot from right here.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into doing that, and I really would like to try to get into that. My main goal is I'd like to try to get into like a 3-gun comp. You know,
yes,
I've been really wanting to do. Yeah, I really want to do that. Get in like a 3-gun comp, and
I would start off with maybe a 2-gun rifle and pistol, or shotgun and pistol. But well, I mean, I guess it depends. But if you're gonna do like a an official competition 3-gun, there's a lot of rules and nuances you'll have to pick up for that.
So just 2-gun probably is a lot easier to get started and get your feet wet.
Yeah, it's just
I would start with IDPA first. Do that and then go from there. Do PCSL, then USPSA.
Yeah, and then kind of get used to, like, you'll have things like the 180 rule. Just kind of there's some generic rules that'll follow you everywhere. Just kind of get used to the decorum and the basic safety rule set, and your kind of general practices in competition shooting.
So the 180 rule is probably you have, 180 degrees.
Yeah, so that is a hard rule.
Don't turn around.
Yeah, that's a hard rule. Don't
break the 180. You're out.
Your weapons handling will get a lot better too as you as you progress and stuff like that. Yeah, get your ass chewed. Here's the thing: if you DQ, go to Dairy Queen. Just live it up a little bit.
Have y'all seen a lot of people get DQ'd before?
I DQ'd this year, and I'm still salty about it.
Oh, okay. You just told us about that.
I've come real close.
Oklahoma
I've come
State.
Real close.
Oklahoma State, I would have taken second in stock service pistol, which would have been a huge division placement for me. But they gave to me on a 180 break. I have it on camera. It was not a 180 break. It was close, but the guy who should have called it was standing over my right shoulder, and he had the best view. I was probably right on the line when I unloaded and showed clear, but I wasn't breaking the 180. It was a guy way back here to my left who said stop, and he called the 180 break. In an IDPA, you cannot use video footage to
USPSA too.
No, yeah, only PCSL and IPSC you can use video to.
You know
appeal
why
a
they
call.
added that to PCSL? You got Hunter Constantine, dude.
Yeah. Yeah,
But Hunter's
that guy's
one of the major reasons PCSL.
Here's the thing though, is if you're a good enough, I've had safety officers that I've seen shoot, or RSOs that I've seen shoot at matches that are dog shit shooters. Like they are terrible shooters. Like they suck. And they have the audacity to sit there, but oh, you came close to the 180. Like, bro, my weapons handling is good enough to where that 180 break, that would have been close for you. But for me at my skill level, that wasn't. I knew exactly where my muzzle was. I knew exactly where I wanted it to be. And it was only there for as long as I needed it to be. And as you guys progress as shooters, you'll get to know these people. They're fairly rare in competition, but they do exist. It'll be like, why are you trying to tell me how to shoot? I kick the dog shit out of you every single weekend I shoot against you. Like there's a guy I beat a lot in USPSA and IDPA. And he's constantly trying to tell me that I'm doing XYZ the wrong way. I was like, bro, I beat you by 50% every time I shoot against you. What's your deal? Like, why are you trying to sit there and tell me how to do stuff? If I can beat you by such a huge gap, why are you trying to sit there and lecture me on stuff that I'm doing monumentally better than you are?
Mm-hmm.
So he's a hater?
He's not a hater. He just thinks he knows better. I mean, I do have one of those here locally too. There's a guy who constantly tells everybody I'm a fraud. And he's an A class. Yeah. So he's an A class shooter, but his deal is I think he's mad that I got sponsored and he didn't. I've been in the industry longer than he has, and I've put a lot more work into getting sponsored than he has. Like, I spent a lot of time networking and researching, doing, what I can to make myself knowledgeable about stuff. Because like when you go to one of the websites that I'm on, to one of my sponsors, right, and you see I'm there, you expect me to be knowledgeable about the stuff that website sells, right? So like for shits and giggles, if you go to the Warhorse website and you're like, hey, what is this product? If there are pro shooter notes on that product description, I have used that product for at least 90 days. I have written the description and I wrote the pro shooter notes, and those are my words on that page. So there are some products that I haven't used from Warhorse, and that should be just because they mimic other products so closely. It's like, if this works, the other two products that are based off of this are also going to work, or whatever else. So it's yeah, I think this guy is probably there's a tinge of jealousy. I've run into it before with other people, but this guy's local, and I interact with him on a semi-occasional basis. But he went out of his way to say some really inappropriate things to me on Instagram. So we're no longer talking. But it's
Beefing.
Yeah, well, I was never beefing with him. I was trying to extend an olive branch, and I can tell you right now. So I'm trying to get Luke sponsored with Killer Innovations as well, with Align Tactical as well. They make Align Tactical makes those little gas pedals. The president actually set out some stuff for us to try. So that'll happen at the IDPA match here in the next week or two for me. But the reason why, if Luke ends up getting sponsored, it's going to be because he treated me like a peer, he's a better shooter than I am, but he didn't treat me like this other guy treated me.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the nature of the game. It's like if you're polite, you don't have to be nice, but if you're polite to people, they're going to remember that. Like, oh, you're the nicest guy. I'd be like, bro, I hate your guts. I'm just polite all the time. Like, because I want you. I don't want you to have a bad experience. Like there was a guy at Area 3 last year. that he bitched every time he had a mic. He was like, "Oh, that's a double." It's like, bro, the target's 45 yards away. You smoked it, and you're a C-class shooter. That is not a double. You got one Charlie on there, take it and walk away. Oh, that's 2 grease rings. Here's an overlay. That is 1 grease ring. That is 1 shot. You got a Charlie mic. Move on. And
The buddy of ours is very
the
quick
same-
to yoink out that
Yeah.
overlay card.
So the same guy was like, pull it. Like he called the range master, and the range master came over with his little micrometer. So in USPSA, if you're debating a call, the range master, if you pull a target because you want it checked, will come over with a micrometer to actually see how big it is. So this guy inconvenienced our entire squad while we waited for 5 minutes for the range master to come down in his golf cart, get his instrument out, make sure it's properly calibrated, just because he was a poor sportsman. Don't do that. Don't at local matches. Do not do that. If you're at a major, by all means, say, "Hey, I want to check." My mentor told me that if he's like, "Hey, I'm not sure. Can I get an overlay? Can I get a second opinion?" If they tell you to F off, if they say, "Hey, no, this is an alpha mic," you say, "All right, thank you," and then you move on.
Mhm.
There are
Not
some of the
that big
best
of a deal.
shooters. There is one of the best shooters in the world got permanently banned from IDPA for being a poor sportsman, for sitting there and bitching about a call that, from what I've heard, was the proper call, but he wanted to sit there and bitch about it. And he made such a stink that he got banned that day. So he can never shoot an IDPA major ever again for as long as he lives. And he has screwed himself. So there are going to be calls. I'm going to tell you right now, I do not agree with that 180 break I got DQ'd with. Because I've seen the guy who called it, I've seen him shoot, and he is a piss poor shooter. I would not want to be next to him. I would not want him with me in a gunfight. That's going to happen. It probably won't happen to you guys at level 1 matches. People are super duper lenient at level 1 matches because it's a level 1 match. You probably shouldn't be. You should be really strict at level 1 matches. You should be a little more lenient at major matches where people are paying $150 to go shoot a match. And then they're driving there and spending more money on travel and costs and everything, taking time off of work. So you probably won't ever experience that at a level 1 match, but at some point you shoot enough, you'll run into people like that. And they're fairly rare. I want to say they're fairly rare in the industry. If they're not, I probably just haven't interacted with them yet. There was one guy that got kicked off of 2 shooting teams I was a part of for an ethics violation because he lied to me and a bunch of other people about money issues. But he lied to us. He lied to teammates, and so he will never be sponsored ever again.
What did he say? He didn't have enough money for a competition? You guys?
No, he was lying to. So long story short, I sold him a gun that he owes me $1,500 for still.
Damn. That's fucked up.
Yep. And he ran away to Arizona and thought he could get away from me there. But I know cops in Arizona, and I know what city he's in, and I've already sent the DA an email saying I'm taking this guy to small claims court. He has until the end of October to pay me back. So I'll reach out next week, say, hey, here's your 1 week notice. If I don't get it, you're going to small claims court, and I'm going to sue him for $10,000 because he's inconvenienced. I sold him the gun a year ago. So
with interest.
Yep. That's part of the game. So don't be like that.
Yeah.
All right, boys, I gotta get heading here in a minute. Do we got one more question on the list?
Yeah. So you guys have talked a lot about MGM, and we had a guest on actually last week that touched on it a bit. If you want to touch a little bit more on like the MGM stuff and the tiers for competition shooting, and what tiers you guys were. I think you said already, but and how far you have to get to the next tier. If that made any sense.
So
talking about like classes.
Yeah, classes.
I
say tiers. My bad. Yeah.
So for the most part, you've got C, B, A, and then M would be master class. GM would be grandmaster class.
Yeah.
Grandmaster class. Think of that like the guys that play in the Super Bowl. There's not very many of those dudes.
Like a Grand Dragon.
Got D class.
Grand Wizard.
Yeah, that's what
D
it
class. That was silly of me. You boys don't want to be in D class. You're
That's
better
all right.
than me.
Hey man, I was in D. We were all. If you start shooting competition, USPSA, you're going to be in D class starting out. So in USPSA they have novice, marksman, sharpshooter, expert, master, and then if you win at nationals, like your division, you'll get what's called distinguished master, and there's not very many of them. So
You're not allowed to farm
PCSL,
trophies, by the way.
yeah, PCSL doesn't have a classification system yet. It's all open. You shoot division. If you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. Max is working on it. In GSSF and Glock Shooting Sports Federation, they have amateur and master. So those are their two classes. And they have like 6 divisions within those two things that you can shoot. Steel Challenge is the same as USPSA. You have your D, C, B, A, M, and GM. And then you have 3-gun. There are no classes. There are only divisions. What else? PRS, Precision Rifle Series. You have pro, amateur, and then you have like 5 or 6 different divisions you can shoot. NRL 22, same thing, pro, amateur, and then a few different divisions you can shoot. Bullseye matches, I have no idea. Bowling pin matches, I have no idea because I don't shoot FUD sports. Except for IDPA. IDPA is you'll notice you guys will be some of the younger shooters there most likely.
Mm-hmm. All right.
There
Well,
will be a lot of handlebar mustaches.
So I should shave the beard, just keep the mustache.
Absolutely. And use the 1911 and y'all AARP.
And wear assless chaps.
Should I bring my life alert?
Yes. Bring your Golden Corral lifetime membership card too.
Yeah. As far as what our classifications are, Eric, I think are you A?
Almost. I'm 73.9%, so I'm 1.1% away from making A class.
Yeah, I think I haven't shot enough actual USPSA matches because we have to travel for them. I consistently shoot in the high B area, occasionally in the low A area, so I'm right in there.
You're probably right there with me then, yeah. I mean, you ever come down to Kansas, I've got a guest bedroom. If you're room and board, we can shoot a USPSA match together and we can really find out. I'm actually gonna have to try though, because I'm not gonna let you walk all over me. Well, more like Waddle, little legs.
Something like that. Dude, we gotta get I don't know if we could get everybody up here or somewhere, but we gotta get like me, you, Hogan, Henry, everybody together. I told Kendra if we did it, we'd do one PRS type thing so she could beat us at something.
Just shoot a PCSL match so we can shoot out to 200 yards.
No, it's got to be further than that.
I know she sucks at everything else.
That's what I mean. We got to put one target out there at like 900.
I'd still probably beat her on it.
I get to use my 6 arc though.
I'm gonna use my tricked out 6.5 Creed right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I gotta get going.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, it was fun.
Yep.
Thank you for being
Thanks
on.
for having me. You guys have a good evening.
You're welcome anytime.
Thanks, brother.
Josh, you gonna hit the outro?
I'm free every weekend, boys. For the most part.
Right.
Okay.
Hell yeah, brother.
Don't
Real
tempt us
quick,
with a good time.
where tell everybody where they can find you on social media, and then
Oh boy. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Fat Guy Cool Hat.
Fat Guy Cool Hat.
Yeah.
Fat Guy Cool Hat.
Is Blake already? Oh no, he's still here.
He's gone. You can find Blake at isuckatshooting.com. I think his Frontier Group or Blake.
Yeah.
Blake Bell at on Instagram, and I think on TikTok. I think it's the same. I think it's Blake Bell 92.
So what's the cool hat?
Oh, I'll grab it. Hang on.
Shit, we got some training, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah.
I added all you guys.
This is
Hold
called
on.
this is called a pakal, and it is indigenous to northern Afghanistan and to Pakistan and some of the other regions there in the stands. It was a gift from a friend, and the first video I made that went super viral on my old account, on the old Savage Actual account on TikTok, was one where I was essentially making fun of FUDs, military trained shooters, and law enforcement. And then it was just my silhouette in my doorway, and it said some fat dude with a cool hat. And by then, I already kind of had a reputation for blasting people with the truth. Like I was really mean about it. I'm not mean about it anymore. I try to be nice about it, just because that brings in, it shows people that you're well informed instead of just talking shit. And so that's kind of like the mantra, is like the fat guy, cool hat, and it's just kind of worked out. And I'll occasionally, if I try to, I don't like to say it's a persona. The only time I really wear my hat is if there's like a blatant falsification when it comes to something. I'll put it on because everyone's like, "Oh, the hat's coming on. Here comes the knowledge." So yeah, I don't put it on too much anymore. So
it looked
itchy. You ever wear it?
Oh yeah, at the Halloween match, I'll wear it. Absolutely, absolutely. And there'll be a picture up here like there was last year. Yeah, that's me. That's your boy.
Go follow Fat Guy Cool Hat.
That's right. That's right. You can find me on there. You can ask me questions. I'm pretty active on there and on Instagram, because a lot of times, like when I live stream on TikTok, I've had. Man, there was one time I was live streaming talking about firearms. I had like 600 or 700 people in there for a good 10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
And then you got kicked off.
No, actually that was actually one of the live sessions I didn't get banned.
Wow.
But I was just rapid firing, answering like the same 20 questions every 5 minutes. Because people are like, well, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And if I got it, I would tell them, I was like, here's my opinion on it. And if I hadn't shot it, I would say I haven't shot it yet. I don't know. I've built a platform on transparency. I'm not the best shooter out there. I'm not the best instructor out there. My goal is to be one of the best shooters out there and one of the best instructors out there. I believe there's a process that people should go through, apprenticing under high-level instructors, really getting a lot of experience under their belt. Because this is something, there's a guy called Practical Tactical on TikTok that I've kind of gone back and forth with him, and he has some really whacked methodology, but I think he's kind of starting to figure it out a little bit. But his whole idea was that he's going to carry a second gun unsecured in his plate carrier, because by his logic, it's faster to switch to your second gun than it is to reload if you run out of ammo with your first gun. And we kind of talked about that, and he tried throwing a bunch of certs in my face, and I was like, bro, I literally have all those, and here's my 27 awards and my other endorsements and everything else. It's like that again, that's just paper, and it's performance on demand. Like we keep saying, performance on demand is what's going to win the day. If you're faster and more accurate than I am, you're going to beat me in a gunfight every single time. So.
Wise words. Well,
great way to end this.
We're so grateful. Thank you so much again.
Yes.
For your time.
Well, we started this thing so we could learn from you guys like you. You know what I mean? We've been searching for training in Maryland. It's been very hard to try to find it, and because of you, now we got a website where we could look that kind of stuff up. So.
The best part is too, they'll put actual courses, like actual training courses, on that website as well. And when you run into other shooters at matches, I would say a fraction of them teach really well, and you'll be able to find them. And they're probably not going to charge you an arm and a leg, because I love what I do. I mean, I teach group classes for $200 a person. For private training, it's $40 an hour with a minimum of and you get a minimum of 4 hours. If you want more, we can do more. You do anywhere from 3 to 6 normally. And I know guys that'll sit there that have no business teaching that charge twice as much. And a lot of the times, a lot of these guys will sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to pay, $400 to go hang out with this tier 1 operator for the weekend. And all they're doing is listening to this guy tell war stories and run them through the same generic drills they've been doing since the early 2000s. Like, again, like Blake was saying, you don't have to sit there and tell a story to teach a lesson. Stories are cool, but stories come after. If you want a good introductory class, there should be a good solid 4 hours of training, and then give the students a couple hours of just kind of like what I call leeway. Like do your good 4 hours, take a lunch break, then give them a couple hours to be like, hey, ask questions, tell your stories, why you learn this, why you teach that. But do that after, and then like, hey, maybe you want a fun challenge here. Let's do some build drills. Let's pull out a shot timer and let's do a build drills. And whoever wins, I'll buy them lunch or dinner or a case of beer, whatever, right? And make it fun. But do that after you've done your training, right? So give them the opportunity to learn, get good high quality repetition, and then give them time to kind of blow off a little steam. Because a lot of people, their attention span is going to be this much, but when you give them that extra leeway, they're going to have an emotional, they're going to have that emotional attachment because now they actually had fun at a class instead of just going to the class and just training, and they're going to be able to retain that information longer.
I have the attention span of a flea.
That's right, man. That's right. You come to my class every 5 minutes, be yelling something else, be like, all right, hey, we're doing this now. And it's great because I'll bring my wife and she'll set a timer and she'll yell time and be like, all right, here, the next drill we're going to do is tactical reloads. You're going to bring the gun out to a full extension. You're going to break it down, grab your very last magazine in your very last magazine. You're going to drop out the one in the gun. You're going to top it off with the one in your palm. You're going to put that magazine of partial rounds back in that very last mag carrier. You're going to represent the gun. You're going to hold it there for 3 seconds, and then you're going to repeat this drill, and then we're going to do that for 15 minutes. And then that gives me time to walk up and down the line, my AI to walk up and down the line, and just help people learn. Now, the only time you do a tactical reload is if you have to top off. I have never, ever done a tactical reload in real life. Ever. I have only ever done them in training, and I only ever do them in training in case I have to do it outside of training. That's it.
I had a quick question for you. Do you think there's a certain mind state you should have if you're concealed carrying? Or
you should have informed awareness. So you should have some level of competency when it comes to being able to gauge threats based off of people's behavior. A lot of people sit there and be like, well, you're racist because you treat X number of people this way. It's like, that's not racism and that's not profiling. I'm treating this person based off of the threat I feel they might or might not bring. I'm treating this person based off of how they behave. So you can de-escalate a lot of threats just by walking away. Not making it your problem.
So you would say situational awareness is a big factor in concealed carrying also?
Situational awareness is very subjective. Obviously, because every situation is different. Having situational awareness is going to be completely dependent, again, on your ability to gauge threats. And the only way you're going to do that is to, again, take training for it. And that's all psychological, atmospherics, demographics. That's stuff that only like legit tier 1 guys teach. That's the only place you're actually going to learn this stuff that relates to, how's this person's gait, the way they're walking. Does that indicate that they have mission focus and they're trying to get from point A to point B? Is this person indexing, bumping their, just touching their waistband or bumping their elbow on something that might, indicate they have a concealed weapon? Is this person sweating profusely? Do they look upset for whatever reason? The defensive stuff that you guys are going to get into is not that difficult. Okay. If you have someone, so most of your self-defense situations you guys are going to come across are going to be on the road because you either cut somebody off on accident or on purpose, or somebody cuts you off on accident or on purpose. And again, you can de-escalate that whole situation just by slowing down a little bit or getting off of a road, getting off the interstate and exit early, or you can de-escalate that. You can de-escalate that if you really want to. And the whole concept behind self-defense isn't training to where you can use your gun. You can really, you can kill a bunch of people because you're a really good shooter. No, it's to train so you don't have to.
So you would say the best way to win a self-defense situation is not to get into one?
Yeah, walk away. If I'm with my wife, I'm leaving. I don't care. Because I have to get her to safety first. If I'm by myself, I'll engage. But that's the situation. Like if I see, so here's a pretty common example. So you saw somebody punch somebody else in the face, you wouldn't do anything? Probably not.
No, I mean,
I'd wait. I'd wait for the situation to develop. I don't know what that person said to that person. That dude might have said, "Hey, I'm gonna rape your bitch." Okay,
Yeah.
bam, you deserve to get punched. Or I'm gonna touch your child inappropriately. Okay, he deserves to get punched.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not just gonna run up there. So there's this thing called Robin Hood syndrome, where everybody out there that thinks they have a gun and they carry a gun, that they're gonna be the good guy, they're gonna save the day. Well, what you don't know about Robin Hood is he was actually murdered. He was actually killed by somebody he was trying to save. He died trying to help someone that didn't know that he was there to save them. You guys don't carry badges. You don't get to sit there and be like, I'm a cop, get on the floor, or police, get down, or whatever else. What you can do is you can let a situation develop. If someone pulls out a gun and starts shooting, absolutely introduce your platform into that situation and stop that active threat. But if two people are arguing, it's not your problem.
Yeah.
If someone's going to sit there and slap somebody around, like my big thing is if I see you punch a woman or hit a woman, I'm probably going to go hands on with you, but I'm be a little cautious about it, because if you hit her, you're going to hit me. Right. But if two people are just scrapping, I've been cut off. I had a First Amendment auditor out at my facility a few months ago, and he was trying to get me to do something dumb. It took me 10 minutes to de-escalate, but I made the decision. I was like, I'm not putting hands on this guy. Nope. Not going to happen. I got cut off on the road. Some dude got 100 feet in front of me before he flipped me off. I was like, all right, whatever, dude. I had 2 guns in my truck that day. He came if he would have tried something real stupid, he would have come very close to death. I've had a guy stop in the fast lane on the interstate and get out and try to punk me because he cut me off and I honked at him. I just hopped out of my car. I was like, hey man, we're not going to play this game. And just getting out of my car and walking up and say, hey, I'm not playing your game. Go on. Like, just me being able to walk up and say, I'm not playing your game, and just being firm, being calm, being polite. He was like, yes, sir. And he just had a shit-eating grin. Now, he wasn't wearing a shirt. He had a giant gold chain on, and his pants were belted around his ass cheeks. And yes, he was black. So I don't know what, I guess he was just having a bad day, but I walked up again.
Did he have multicolored dreads?
I don't remember. I do remember that stuff though, because like that's how I identified him. I was like, oh my gosh. Like I remember thinking, I was like, this guy's trying to punk me. So I popped out of my car and I met him halfway. I said, I'm not playing your game. And he said, are you a cop? I said, I'm not playing your game. Get in your car and leave. And he started grinning at me like, yes, sir. It's like I had a gun on me and I had one in my car. And he didn't. So it's like a lot of people are going to go out there and they're just going to do dumb shit. De-escalate, walk away. Okay. A lot of people, so many people in the industry have this giant chip on their shoulder. They're like, man, I've shot 8,000 rounds this year. I have never drawn my firearm on my job. I have never drawn my firearm in self-defense in the state of Kansas, in Oklahoma, in Missouri, in Nebraska, in Iowa, Colorado, states I frequent for competition. Never pulled my gun out. De-escalated a lot of situations. Said, hey, I'm not playing your game. I'm just walking away. Now, just because you walk away doesn't mean that you're going to not pay attention to that person.
Yeah.
But one, walking away. So this is something my buddy Luke and I are going to talk about on the standard issue here in the next couple of weeks. But we're going to talk about how to deal with threats, like the legalities of it. Walking away gives you legal precedent saying, I was trying to walk away. I was trying to de-escalate. So if somebody's starting to keep enough, in Kansas, we have stand your ground laws, castle doctrine. So if I'm trying to walk away, I'm trying to create distance, and this person is following me, I can reasonably assume that this person means to cause me harm, and I can now introduce force. So there's self-defense is not difficult. You just got to leave your ego at the door and take this giant chip off your shoulder. That's all you got to do. That's it.
Yeah. The way I like to look at it is I've gone 29 years without having to, use lethal force.
It's a good record.
I've been able to talk my way out of situations and walk away from situations, and there's always a way. Well, not always, but there's generally a way out of a situation you don't want to be in without having to pull a gun.
I was out on a date with my wife before we were married. We were out at this place called Power Zone. It's a big video game arcade with go-karts and stuff.
That sounds cool.
And there was this younger fella, probably 12, 13 years old, and he was just staring at her butt cheeks. Like, she wasn't wearing anything super revealing. She had jeans on, and she was staring at her ass. And I said, dude, don't look at my girlfriend's butt. I wasn't mean or nothing, and he just kind of ignored me. So I stepped in front of her. I was like, "Don't look at my girlfriend's butt. Go away." That was it. Didn't raise my voice, nothing. Well, he left and went and got Daddy. Daddy was a big boy, and he came over. He's like, "You yell at my kid?" I said, "No." He said, "You yelled at him." I said, "Your kid was lying." I was armed. I was carrying a gun. Daddy was not carrying a gun. Daddy was too big to be carrying a gun. He said, "Well, my kid said that you yelled at him." I said, "Your kid's a liar." He's like, "Don't call my kid a liar." It's like, "I just did." I said, "Tell your kid to have better manners, not stare at women's asses." The guy wanted to fight. I didn't let him fight. I set the rules. I set the groundwork, and I just said, "He's lying to you. Don't let him stare at random girls' asses that aren't his. Teach him better. That's on you."
Yep.
Gave him a quick life lesson on good parenting. He was all riled up. He was ready to go. But just being firm and not a lot of times. So when I bounce, a lot of times just being firm with people and saying no. Just, standing your ground, saying no. I had guys like do this to try to get me to flinch. If you're going to punch me, you're going to punch me. After that, I've got 3 years of jiu-jitsu under my belt. We're going to play my game. I'm going to tie you in a pretzel, and it's going to be a good time. You're not going to like it. I'm going to enjoy it. You punch me in the face, game on, baby. But so, like, just being firm, being polite. You ain't got to be nice, but you got to be polite.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Yeah, with I'm actually I have 3 years of taijutsu and jiu-jitsu.
There you go.
Yeah. You kind of tell if someone's actually going to really start going at you.
Cauliflower ear is a good indicator.
Yeah.
Real good indicator. You probably don't want to fuck with someone.
Yeah.
That's a lot of mat time.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody tonight, thank you for watching. Like the video, share it with everybody. We want to thank Blake and Eric for being on here tonight. It was a great time. We learned a lot from you guys.
I appreciate
It's an honor to have you on here.
Yeah.
This was a pleasure, boys. It's always fun to get to try to help educate a little bit.
Sir, don't forget
Fat Guy Cool Hat.
Frontier Group. Yep, Fat Guy Cool Hat. Instagram, TikTok. But thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Catch you guys later. Thanks.
All right, see you.
All righty.
Outro.
Once you get into that, you start getting into a situation, the slippery slope, where all of a sudden you're going to really violate the Second Amendment. I don't want to do anything to violate the Second Amendment. To me, the Second Amendment is very important. I love this country. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
So we're
Are we still alive?